Oh.
And we are live.
Live from New York City. It's Saturday Night Live.
It's actually Andy, but any guys actually from. Wait, Trenchy. Trenchy's from New York. So it isn't a total misdemeanor. Or
Yeah.
misnomer.
Did what?
Yeah.
I just said, yeah, New York represent, kind of.
Yay! How about that, Giuliani? Oh wait, he's gone.
His head was melting. Ah,
What's up, everybody? Tonight we're going to be talking about the first Scream movie, and I am joined by some real awesome folks. Martin from the Trash Picture Show. The sexy motherfucker right below me is Trenchy from the Soulless Trench Coat. And right over here to the left, to the right, we have the ever dashing and lovely Ethel Cross.
Howdy.
And I since we were going to be talking about Scream, I took the liberty of rewatching it last night because it's been a while since I've seen it. So, and I think what for me, what really stood out was it was Wes Craven reinventing the horror genre once again. I mean, to me, that is more important than the actual movie because when Scream came out, slasher movies in general were just being faded out. It was all about supernatural and not real like a real horror movie. And Wes Craven comes on and goes, "Oh, let me show you what I'm gonna do," and he comes up with Scream. And just the opening scene of this movie was fantastic. It's quite possibly the most iconic kill in any horror movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, it's a good moment for sure. What Trench? What'd you think of that opening kill?
I mean, it's dope, man. Like, especially the build up, like they're playing the game with her on the phone. She's got the popcorn going and shit, and and it's funny because it's like they're asking horror trivia, which is something like us in the horror community do a lot. We do horror trivia a lot. So and they asked her the trick question about who was the killer in Friday the 13th, and she's like, "Fucking Jason." She's freaking out, and it's like, nah. I was talking about the first one. It's Pamela, you idiot. And then the death happens, and it's dope.
Hey Cara, hey Dino.
Hey guys. I like it because it's kind of like it's the Janet Leigh. It's a condensed Janet Leigh psycho sequence because, like, Mark, she was probably the biggest name in the movie at the time.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore, without a doubt, was the biggest name in Scream, and Wes Craven wanted Drew Barrymore to play Sydney.
I'm glad she didn't though.
Yeah,
but
oh, sorry, Trench. Go on.
No, I get where they were going with that, like having her place it. Like I get at the time, but I can't see anybody but Nev Campbell as Cindy now after like 4 movies and shit.
I think it was kind of serendipitous that she didn't get the role and she got that kind of that she got that segment at the start because again, it's such a fucking powerful scene and it is like you're seeing this kind of high up actress this kind of well-known actress getting offed in what? Like, Mark, is it the first 10 minutes?
First, I'd say about the first 15, first 20.
Yeah, and you really expect her to be the lead throughout the whole film. Like you're thinking, okay, there she is. That's our star. We're going to be following her through the rest of the. Oh no, yanked. Extreme Prejudice.
Kind of like
fun-
what Nightmare did a little bit with the blonde chick in Nightmare, because I always thought she would be the final girl, and she dies.
Fun fact about Drew Barrymore and her scenes in this movie. She filmed all her scenes in about 5 days, all at the beginning of shooting of this film, and then she was done. So she sort of she went out in the movie pretty much.
Yeah, Drew was cool about it. These are West's own words. He's like, yeah, I had plans for Drew to be, sitting. She took one look at the script and she's like, well, can I be Casey instead? And she read for Casey, and Wes was like, you got it.
Again, it's a pure Janet Leigh kind of situation.
It really is.
That worked really, really well for the movie. But and also her death was fairly gruesome. It wasn't like fucking she's stabbed, she's dead. Like he guts her and hands her off a fucking tree.
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't just it wasn't just I'm gonna stab her to death. No, they fillet Drew Barrymore in that movie.
Yeah, they use a lot of blood in this movie. In fact, they used about 50 gallons of blood.
Jesus. Like it's probably not the most. It's graphic, but I definitely think Rose McGowan's death is a lot more graphic. We'll probably get to that. I don't know. What do you reckon, Mark, with the head?
I
felt, get to that part.
As much as I love that movie and the scene in particular, not very feasible. You're not going to lift a small young lady in a garage door and crush her skull. It's not physically possible.
No, okay. I like that kill because it's obviously it's like a split second. You see the Greg Nicotero puppet getting fucking squished, and it's like, oh, that was a human fucked.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I appreciate the kill for what it is. I really do. But, physics says the garage doors aren't that strong.
Yeah, they'd probably fold. Shutter doors would fold easily and shit like that.
Yeah. But again, I do appreciate the kill for what it is. If her eyes had popped out of her head when her head got crushed, that would have been better. If you would have put a Friday the 13th Part 3 scene, I would have appreciated it more.
Well, actually, Max, who would have been your favorite character in the first movie?
I gotta go with Randy. Mr. I know all the horror movie tropes and all the rules and
Jamie Kennedy. Yeah. I'm the same, which is weird because I can't stand the bastard, but I actually thought he was really good in this.
Yeah,
I was kind of bummed out after the second movie, but yeah, Randy's brilliant.
I'm not by any means am I a Jamie Kennedy fan, but in the Scream first two Scream movies, he was great.
He got this role because he made Wes Craven laugh with all his improvised comedy that he put into the script. Because like a lot of the silly stuff that he would say or whatever, it wouldn't be in there. Like that's improv. So Wes was like, I like this guy. We got to get him in here. Get Jamie in there.
That was great about this movie as well. it had as well as being kind of like a serious slasher. It had a great sense of humor. There's
Yeah,
like
it really did. It was a slasher that was aware that it was a slasher.
Mm-hmm.
like you have Henry Winkler like lecturing all the students. Hey, no joking, no fucking people died. You know, you gotta show some respect. And then he goes off into his office and puts on the scream mask, and it's like it's like oh, what a dick.
Yeah, the Fonz was a fucking dick in that movie, and he that's why when he gets killed, it's the funniest fucking thing ever.
What was it? The jock guys were like, "Hey, someone's after murdering the principal and handing him off the goalpost. Hey, let's shoot
Somebody hung him from the platform.
let's kick some footballs over the goalpost before they take the body down or some shit like that."
They hung him from the flagpole.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's go see that prick before they take his body down.
Of course, Mark mentioned Henry Winkler, the Fonz there. His special Fonzie jacket actually makes an appearance in this movie. It's hanging in the closet in his office when he goes in there. So that's kind of fun.
I can't say that the Scream films are the best thing that Wes Craven has ever done because I'm a huge Nightmare fan, Kara.
I rep people under the stairs. I think people under the stairs. And besides Nightmare 3 is like the best thing he ever did. Second best to Nightmare 3, I think.
Yeah.
I like New Nightmare.
Scream is awesome.
New Nightmare is incredibly underrated.
I love
I love New Nightmare. It's great.
Hey, want to play Skin the Cat? I love that thing. Speaking of, we kind of get a cheeky director Freddy cameo in the form of Craven dressed up as the janitor in like Freddy's sweater and fedora, and he's mopping and fucking what's his face comes out and okay, what's going on?
Oh, no worries, Kara.
I figured she was talking about that as well. Because,
my bad. This shit.
Hey, Sponge.
Oh, Sponge.
No need to apologize, Kara. I wasn't sure which one you were talking about, so is this...
Kara, that was our bad. That was our bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't your bad.
But no, there I will agree. Scream was Jamie Kennedy's best role.
Yeah. Like, what are you going to put it against? Son of the Mask? Tremors 5?
Oh, man. Oh, boy.
Fucking Son of the Mask.
So I confused Scream with Scary Movie. That's where they got most of the material for Spongy.
Sponge went off and watched Scary Movie, thinking it was Scream.
You know, Scary Movie was actually the original title for this film before they settled on Scream.
Apparently, Craven hated that movie. He didn't like the fact it was making a mockery of Scream. He was actually livid about that.
Yeah, and that's why they call it Scary Movie, is because it was the original title for Scream. So it's like a hey, yeah, we are talking about your film, Wes. We're making fun of it, and yeah, I could see him getting pissed about that.
That's those kind of Scary Movie and epic movie franchises. I've never been a big fan of. They're like the first one is. But it's lowbrow humor, and it's humor you only get if you've watched like 60 movies that came out that year.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Trench. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I enjoyed the first 4, but the 5th one went really downhill. But yeah, they were really below the belt type of humor. They're really, and they have a lot of fucked up clones like Epic Movie and shit that are just like horrible and don't have the charm.
Like superhero movie, and it's what it's trying to do is it's trying to do a take on National Lampoons, but instead they're just gonna make fun of other movies that are popular. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea, but like I can see why some people would enjoy it. Like it's
Okay, Kara brings up an interesting point though. Wes had a lawsuit issue with the guys who created Scream and Scream Again. So Wes is a bit of a hypocrite. Yeah, actually, I can kind of see that as well.
oh
Like, I do like the Wayans brothers in the first one.
Yeah.
I think it's Marlon. Hey, if you talked to, if you'd seen that girl before she died, what would you have said to her? Run, bitch, run!
Yeah, once they lost the Waynes, it got really sad. But then at least they still had like Anna Faris and Regina Hall. But then they lost all of them and gave it to Ashley Tisdale, and it was like, fuck this. I'm not watching Ashley Tisdale in fucking Scary Movie 5. This is horrible. Yeah, Anna Faris was the only thing keeping that afloat in like part 4, her and Regina Hall, and then once they left, it's like fuck.
This is my strong.
Oh yeah, in Scary. Okay, well, in Scary Movie 2, the guy, the butler with the gimpy kind of weird hands.
Yeah.
He's like sticking it to the turkey. I think we're getting sidetracked with the Ron franchise park. Should we go back on track?
it's what you
We always get sidetracked somehow.
You could, but in fairness, you couldn't talk about the Scream franchise or the first Scream
Without
movie
bringing up Scary Movie.
because there would be no Scary Movie without this movie, which, as Mark said earlier, sort of reinvigorated the slasher genre. It kind of gave it a shot in the arm.
Ethel, have you a favorite character from this movie? If you can think of any, or even the actor.
I like Nev Campbell in this movie.
Yeah, she kicked ass as a final girl. She genuinely did, and you felt a lot of empathy. And like another character I liked, although they kind of undid it in the later one, was Courtney Cox's Gail Weathers.
Joe
Where
Weathers.
like she goes through an arc. She's like a bitch at the start, and then she kind of, well, you know, maybe I shouldn't be like fucking trying to prey off people's misfortune. But what about you, Trench?
I like a lot of this cast. Like I like Tatum. I thought she was a pretty tough. Like I like how she's kind of like scrappy and not just like the bitchy best friend, but she's there for Sydney. I like Sydney a lot. She's one of my favorite final girls. But I think I gotta give it to either Stu or Dewey because I love just bumbling Dewey. Like I always root for Dewey, even though he gets like in the stupidest situation and he always gets hurt. But I love Dewey and I love Stu, man. They're sitting there at the end of the movie and he's like stabbed and they're like killing people. He's like, my mom's gonna be so mad at me. It's like fucking Stu.
Yeah, that's brilliant. What is it? You hit me with the phone.
I'm really ready to lose you, man.
It hurts. It
Yeah,
hurts.
oh, you stabbed me. Oh, I don't feel so good. So you got fucking stabbed, you idiot.
Hey, John.
Hey,
Hey,
John.
John.
Hey, John.
That's okay, John.
Stu was great though. I mean, but if it wasn't for Jamie Kennedy being in that movie, Stu would definitely be the comic relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently he improved. Mark, he improved a lot of stuff near the end near his death sequence.
Yeah.
You hit me with the phone.
You hear me with the fucking phone, you dick.
I love that. Skeet Ulrich, what did you think of him as the kind of spoilers for a movie that's 25 years old? But
Oh God, has it been that long? Oh man.
Yeah.
I remember when this was a new release at the friggin' Home Vision Video down the street. Good God.
We have Deacon's here.
Ah, Deacon.
Hey,
Oh, shit. He's in
New avatar.
He's in the fucking thing, and he's got bows in his hair, man. Oh, those are horns.
I thought they were cornrows. I thought it was going to Rastafarian. I
And I got the tail to move.
You joined us just in time, Deacon. We were going over who our favorite characters were in Scream.
Oh, I'm so glad I made it for this.
Hey, Ethel, would you agree with Kara's statement? Scream in the craft. Back then, Skeeter was handsome.
Yeah, no, I'd give it to him. You know, Skeet was actually cast because of his resemblance to Johnny Depp, which, I mean, who doesn't like Johnny Depp, really?
Yeah.
The one thing I can say, just you know, from the first time they're all at school together, you can see that there's something seriously wrong with Skeet Ulrich in the way he's addressing, you know, how Drew Barrymore died in that movie. So it was kind of, you know, it was kind of a giveaway, but they didn't give it away until right there near the end.
Yeah, like they had the whole red herring thing of like with the two killers and shit, and it did catch me. The first viewing, it was like, oh, okay, maybe it isn't him, and it's like that was kind of clever. That was clever to have the two killers.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. I kind of agree. It's a nice movie where they didn't give the killer a supernatural aspect. They just ground it more in reality, and it really did the movie justice.
Leave her alone.
Leave her alone. Oh no.
That's like why I love that there's two killers. They did it. It's not just to be like a twist, but they did it to explain the supernatural element of the Scream killer without giving him supernatural powers. They made it two people, so he can be in like two places at once.
Yeah.
Although, according to a few people who have sat there and watched the Scream movie and timed when people arrive, apparently there's supposed to be 3 of them.
Oh.
Dewey is not the killer. Scary movie ruined that. Dewey's not the killer.
Dewey is not the killer.
No. Dewey isn't bright enough to be the killer in those movies.
I hate that theory that Dewey's the third killer. It's like, no, man, there's 4 other movies. He's not the killer.
If Dewey is the killer, if there's credence given to Dewey being the killer, then there's credence given to fucking Jar Jar Binks is a fucking hidden fucking Sith.
There's enough evidence to say he was, and George Lucas is commented as saying he had to back out of an idea he had because of fan backlash.
Fuck off.
Yeah, I know. There's enough evidence there to say Jar Jar Binks was going to be the ultimate Sith Lord.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's always the one you least suspect.
Yeah, the puppeteer of Palpatine.
It would have been brilliant if Dewey had been the third killer, but because let's face it, nobody would have ever expected Dewey to be that, you know, that brilliant.
Dewey, he can't do it.
But
like it's I do think though if they had made Dewey a killer as well, it would have been like All Men Suck. That would be the title. That would have been the title of the movie.
That would have been the title of the
All
movie.
Men Suck. It's like
Yeah, but we've got
it's like,
Sabrina the Teenage Witch
only
for that.
Jamie Kennedy is the only decent male in the entire fucking franchise. Then if that was the
And
case.
that would be sad. That would be sad as fuck if Jamie Kennedy is the only nice male in the franchise. No offense to Jamie Kennedy.
Our gender was maintained by Jamie Kennedy. Christ, dude.
Oh God, we're doomed.
Yeah, you would have had a hard time convincing anybody that Dewey was the third killer in that franchise.
Like if it was going to go that way, as the saying with Jar Jar Binks, it was like the whole thing is just a facade. He puts on the whole goofy dumbass motherfucker thing. If that, I don't know, would it sell? Would you be able to sell it? But I would guess that what Craven was going for.
I don't think I would have bought it if you know. Let's just hypothetically say after Stu and Billy Loomis are fucking dead, and Gail and Cindy both think it's over. Dewey emerges as the true mastermind. You would have had a franchise.
Yeah, I know. I that would have been a very fucking large pill for me to swallow.
Yeah, it makes me just think of I Am Kaiser Soze, and he wouldn't have been able to pull it off. No way.
Yeah, no, he's. It wouldn't. To me, it wouldn't have worked just because nobody would have believed Dewey's that brilliant.
Yeah, let's take what Dewey adds to the sequels. I love seeing Dewey as the good guy with Bill and Sydney in the sequels. I think if Dewey wasn't in the sequels, I think there would be a little lacking. No offense to everybody else, but they would be missing something.
Well, if we're saying that, in that case, no offense to anyone else, but in Scream 5, Sydney has to die. She has to. I'm sorry, she survived too many encounters now.
What would you do? Would you do it like Drew Barrymore, or like even fucking Laurie Strode in Halloween Resurrection, and just kill her off the first 5 minutes into the movie?
Oh no, I'd have her completely go off the deep end and be the killer.
Oh.
Oh, no.
I would do it differently. I would bring back what's her face from Part 4 who got stabbed once and you never see her die.
Oh, Hayden Panettiere.
Yeah, I know who you're on about.
Yeah, Wes Craven said Kirby's or not Wes Craven, but they've said Kirby's alive. They confirmed it.
Ooh, this will be interesting.
I would make Kirby the killer because that would. I'm sorry, you survive something like that, it's gonna affect you somehow.
I'd like to go with that, Mark, but I could not take a killer named after a big purple monster that sucks stuff up and fires it out in a Nintendo video game. I'm just sorry. I'm just sorry.
Are you saying the vacuum killer cleaner wouldn't work?
He's saying it would.
Guys, I think you're all being a little ridiculous. Kirby's pink, not purple.
Oh, sorry.
Oh God, that's all I could think of. Fucking Kirby.
Hey, Jim.
I don't know why, but now I've.
Vacuum cleaner.
Those were great games.
Now I've just got an image of buying a dinosaur with an elephant trunk. Just weird.
I was going to ask where the trunk was located exactly, but you know what? It's too early in the stream. We're only half an hour into the stream. We're not dropping yet. I'm not going to do that to Mark.
And I'm going to do my best today. And yes, Mark, you have this as a promise that I am not going to go too dark.
Although I did learn an interesting fact about Walt Disney from Trenchy that we might divulge to you later on, Deacon.
Oh, which
I
one?
won't do the whole thing, but I give you full permission to tell the whole story in detail.
And later on, it's too early. It's too early.
Yeah, it's way too early to rehash that.
Yeah, we're not ready for Peter Pan talk yet.
At least wait till the sun goes down behind me here. Come on.
Yeah, we got to wait until it's darkness for everyone.
Yeah, I'll be gone by then, or I might be back. I don't know what's going on.
Trench will be safe from the onslaught.
Nah, I got to deal with a different onslaught.
Is it mating season for your cats?
Phrase that better.
Yeah, is it mating season for your cats, Trenchy?
No, I gotta deal with a pest problem. Well, no, I'm trying to make a joke.
No comment.
Right.
Got to deal with a pest problem. Got to deal with your neighbours.
Back to Scream. Back to Scream.
But yeah, I don't. Is you know, as far as story arcs go, I think Gail has the best story arc in the franchise.
I agree.
She goes from the uncaring twat to, you know, being almost taking over the role of Final Girl from Sydney.
Yeah, she does go through a very complex arc. Although I do have an issue with Scream 2 because that seems to undo it. Or is that just me?
No,
it's
you're
not
right. You're right on the money, Marty. In Scream 2, it's like everything they built up in Scream 1. Jennifer, is it
I saw that as well.
the weasel mating season, everyone?
Don't have weasels, have dogs, but yes, they are going at it. So it must be something in the air.
But off the weasel.
There's another statement. There's another thing behind that joke.
Yeah.
They're speaking.
The weasels are mating.
The arc in Scream 2, I think, though, is she does fall back into her ways a little bit. Like, I feel like in Scream, I feel like it's human-like because she keeps trying to be a better person, but she keeps falling back into her ways of getting the story. And then I feel like Scream 4 capped it off perfectly with her telling off the other detective and I mean the other publicist and stuff like that. Like I feel like throughout the series she's she's growing slowly. It's a slow climb, you know.
Oh, so she's going from a gale to a hurricane.
Something like that.
What?
Badum.
It's a bad weather joke. It's a bad weather joke, Trench.
Oh, because she's Gail Weathers. Oh.
Ford twins.
Sorry, I will be cracking weird jokes today.
You're good.
Yes.
And that's when, you know, that's something. That's one of the other things about Scream is the whole Cotton Weary aspect that runs throughout the whole first movie. Was you know, was he innocent? Was he not innocent? And you know, you finally get the answer in the sequel, right at the end of Scream.
Yeah, I did kind of think it was kind of shitty that Liv Schreiber's character got treated like shit still by Sydney, even though it was blatantly obvious. Like Loomis basically said, "Yeah, I was the one," or what? Yeah, was it him or was it his father killed Sydney's mother?
Billy killed the mother.
Billy killed Sydney's mom because she had an affair with his dad.
Yeah.
And Cotton Weary is still treated like shit, even though this is all brought out into the open.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's going on to next week. Sorry.
weird.
Speaking of, oh shit, sorry, Trench, go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead, Apple. My bad.
I was just gonna say, speaking of Billy Loomis, Joaquin Phoenix almost played that role.
Oh,
Don't think it would have worked as well.
They
It
came
would
right
have
up
been
to him.
interesting.
They said, "Hey, Joaquin, you spell your name kind of funny. You want to be in our movie?" And he said, "No, I got other things to do."
I'm kind of glad about that because the minute he'd come on screen, I'm like, that's the killer. Like the head and Joaquin Phoenix. The head and Joaquin Phoenix. It's like, yeah, that fucking dude. That guy's murdered people in real life, let alone a fucking
But that was the thing. Also, it's interesting to note, like all the phone calls that they got from the killer, they were made by Roger Jackson, and they were made on set from a cell phone. And apparently, there was some confusion with the police, and they actually contacted the crew and everything, and they're like, "Hey, who are you people? We need to know who you are." Like, because apparently there's a killer loose making phone calls, and they had to explain that they're filming a movie.
Ethel, are you saying they swatted themselves before swatting was even a fucking thing? How
Oh
brilliant.
God!
Oh,
Oh, that was a scream and a half.
There's a bit. It was a big misunderstanding with the police, so that's kind of fun to note.
But Mark, what would you say your favorite kill is? The first one, or
I'm not gonna say the Drew Barrymore kill because that would be way too easy. I'm gonna say the Tatum kill.
Yeah.
is my favorite because because you besides Sin, you really think that Tatum is going to live to the end because she's just that scrappy.
Mm-hmm.
And
she gets killed by unplausible fucking shutter door. The garage door.
It's
The door that can list 5 times its own weight.
Yeah. Again, not plausible, but
it's still cool.
Going with the Drew Barrymore kill would be way too easy. So I'm gonna go out and say Tatum is my favorite kill in the first Scream movie.
Where Lillard has the fucking TV dropped on his head.
Hell yeah.
Although he comes back, I think, does he?
There's a rumor that that they want him back for part 5.
Well, they want Drew Barrymore back for part 5, so it's really concerning.
Fuck off!
But she's dead.
No fucking way. Unless they do.
But I think what they want to do, I think they want to pull a new Nightmare. I think they're trying to pull a new
Nightmare. They do, like the actors are being killed off, which would be clever.
The evidence is leading towards it because that Drew Barrymore said she's coming back. They're highly leading to Drew Barrymore coming back.
Very nice of them to give that dead girl another chance.
I can kind of see why they want to do that because most of the premises of the movie, or at least the thing you get, is media is what's causing these people to go insane and kill people. So what if the movies in real life cause someone to go insane and kill people?
See, I heard other things about a prequel, but like this is a movie that's 25 years old. What the? I don't care what fucking de-aging technology. I don't care what Irishman fucking computers you get fucking scanning these people's face. That's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to do a prequel to Scream unless you do an entirely new set of characters.
You got to recast everybody if you're going to do a prequel.
Yeah,
Lillard
you're gonna have to get
was
people that are slight lookalikes.
Otherwise,
Lillard was supposed to come.
Sorry, Trench, go ahead.
I was gonna say Lillard was supposed to come back for part 3, but then they said that the fucking plot was too much like Columbine, like it was too much Columbine happened, so they had to scrap the plot of Scream 3 and go with what they did. But Lillard was supposed to come back, so they were trying to do this crazy shit for a long ass time, man.
I hate it like when real world events take and ruin fictional movies. Like, just make what you're gonna make, Hollywood. Don't chicken out. Just make it. Because
Don't pander. Don't pander.
Huh?
Don't
Yeah,
pander to people.
Because, like, here's the thing: when you do that, like, you're totally kneecapping yourself, because those media events, those headline events, they're not going to be around forever.
Ethel, did you know that the second Lord of the Rings movie was going to they wanted to change the title from The Two Towers because they were worried about 9/11. Tolkien wrote this book back in the fucking 20s or 30s. It was nothing to do with fucking 9/11.
Well, apparently it's supposed to
People
be a
and
scene.
sensibilities.
Oh shit! Sorry, Deacon. You okay?
No,
What were you
no,
saying?
yeah, no, up to you.
I was to say, like in one of the Spider-Man movies, I can't remember if it's Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 2. The Sam
It
Raimi
was
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 1, and it was a teaser trailer that disappeared. He catches the helicopter between the two towers, the World Trade Centers, right, Ethel?
Yeah, with the webs.
Yeah.
And they 86'd it because the Twin Towers fell, and it's like, we could just change it to be two different buildings, guys. It doesn't have to be the Twin Towers. Does it actually just place after the thing happened? What the fuck? Go ahead.
Mark, you might have someone jumping in a couple of seconds.
Ooh.
Cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like when was it 96 that this one was released? Or 97?
Yeah, 1996.
1996.
So that was 3 years before Columbine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scream 3 was the one that plot was totally scrapped because of Columbine, because they thought it would be too close to the event. And they thought the plot was too close to the event, and they didn't want to offend any of the victims or anything. They didn't want to be insensitive.
So, yeah. So, like, because of, like, what, 60, 70 people? Like, we can't have an entire movie continue to take place.
But we almost got Matthew Lillard back. We almost got Matthew Lillard back, which, I don't know. Scream 3 is kind of weak, so it would have been interesting to see what they did with it. With Matthew Lillard involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think Scream 3, if they would have managed to bring Lillard back, probably would have been a much better movie.
What was 3 again? I know we're going to be getting into it later on down the line. But, Mark, back room. Check the back room.
Oh. Got a guess.
Ooh, we got Kara.
Oh, hey.
hello.
Hello, Sarah.
Hey, Kara.
Hey,
Hola.
hey werewolf.
Hello there.
Kara, what would be your favorite character in Kill in the first movie?
Let me see. I think I was echoing. Sorry.
No, you're okay.
You're grand.
Favorite character?
Yeah.
Probably Tatum from the first one. Rose McGowan.
Yeah.
What would
should
be
be
your
able to hear
favorite
you.
kill from the first movie?
Which one?
Your favorite kill from the first movie?
I'd probably go with Casey. That was the most shocking one. It really sets pace for the film. You know what to expect. Kind of like no one's safe, and it's going to be a gore fest.
Yeah.
Cara, would you agree with that being like a Janet Leigh moment in the movie?
Let me see. Mr. Rick is connected. I don't know if you guys can hear him also.
Yeah, a wee bit.
Oh, okay. We weren't sure. Did you have a character you wanted to mention?
No. No, I just wanted because I want to make sure I can hear it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm working on a project because we have both Bluetooth speakers on the headphones, and I have one. So I'm listening while I'm working on something. She's interacting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Janet Leigh moment. I would say like I was in the chat earlier agreeing that I think Ethel was saying that they wanted her for Sydney, and Drew Barrymore decided that playing Casey would be more shocking. And they killed their big name person right at the beginning. So it's kind of like I had the same impression. Like, this is the star of the show, and it's like, she's gone. What happens now?
Yeah, as you said, no one's safe. No, it was very serendipitous that she decided to go with the other role.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore was the main event. You're right.
She was the big name, yeah. That's why it's so shocking. It's like, oh my gosh, they killed the star.
It's like the main event that's going on first.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, wow.
Like another good comparison is have you guys seen the remake of The Quick and the Dead, the one with Sharon Stone and Russell Crowe?
Yeah.
Yeah, where they kind of did that too. They faked you out that they killed Sharon Stone, and I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen in the movie now? The star is gone.
I know he wasn't big at the time, but I think I'd seen it after Titanic, and I was like, oh fuck, they killed Leo.
Yeah.
That was smart. Oh, so I was gonna say that was smart thinking. Even though she had no way to know, smart thinking on Drew Barrymore's part to do that, because she saved herself from the infamous scene 118. You guys, are you familiar with this?
I'm
No.
not sure.
They spill the beans.
Well, all right, look, it happens towards the end of the movie. They have that big party scene, and they're all right. And it actually took 21 days to film that scene, and they'd start from sunset, and they'd go all night long until sunrise. And it was so grueling that the crew and the cast all had T-shirts made that said, "I survived scene 118."
That was the party scene, was it? Like near the end?
Yeah, I'll be right back. Never say you'll be right back. You won't.
Yeah, never say it. You will never be seen again.
Well, that's another cool thing about this movie as well. It is incredibly meta, and it's what I think is Wes Craven, one of the pioneers of the slasher genre, kind of deconstructs the whole genre as well, and that's pretty clever and that's pretty cool. What do you reckon, Mark? Do you think?
I totally agree. It's he deconstructs the slasher genre, but that movie is littered with Easter eggs from just about every horror movie known to man. It's actually a homage to horror film.
And whoever knows the most like symbols in a movie wins, right? Kind of way. Like who's got the that Freddy Krueger reference, or who's got the Jason reference, right?
Well, yeah, they mentioned it earlier that was it Wes Craven? He wore the Krueger sweater. He was playing the janitor, and he was telling Sydney like to settle down.
Yeah, the hat, the jumper, the gloves, just without the blades.
And that Kennedy character is almost like a guru who holds you by the hand. Even if you never watched scary movies, the Kennedy character holds you the hand and directs you. And to go back to your favorite kill, my favorite kill is when the guru Kennedy dies, but he doesn't. He doesn't. He gets shot. He's the one where I go like at the end of the movie, I go like he's the one where I actually thought he died. Him coming back to life actually surprised me. And for him to survive it.
I was going to comment on that also really quick, if I may. I don't know if anybody else was going to say something.
Go for it,
Just
Cara.
hello to Freaky Dan, who just came into the chat. Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan.
Howdy, howdy.
Hello.
Cara, what were you going to say there? What were you going to comment on?
No, I was going to say very similar. Like, I like that Jimmy Kennedy, he played that informant archetype, the person who knows everything and always winds up dying. And same thing, he doesn't. He makes it to the sequel, which main cast usually doesn't make it to the sequel anyway. And then he kind of gets killed in like the weakest way possible. He gets sucked into like a child predator van and murder.
Dan, who is your favorite killer?
My favorite? Fuck, I gotta go Billy,
favorite
man.
character and favorite kill in the movie.
Favorite character and kill? Overall favorite character, probably Stu.
Stewie?
Yeah, Stu is great. Favorite kill? God, a lot of them are actually pretty weak in the Scream franchise. I gotta go with Drew Barrymore's death, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For how shocking and brutal it is.
For me, I've always liked the cameraman death.
Oh, the guy that says I'm not Jesus?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, that was actually pretty genius how that was executed. You had the whole camera inside, like, oh god, I forgot about the delay. Goes outside.
Man, you know what I remember the most about the Scream movies is Courtney Cox's hairstyles throughout the franchise.
Don't remind me.
It totally screams of the era. Like, when I look at it, I go like, wow, man, the late 90s were... Whew.
Also, big hello to Natalie.
And I went through all that, too. I remember that. Yeah.
But, Dan, what do you think do you think that the fact that Wes Craven was kind of one of the founding fathers of the slasher genre that gave him an edge in deconstruction this genre in this movie?
What was the second half of that question?
Sorry, Wes Craven, because he's like one of the big kind of founders of the modern horror slasher, it kind of gave him an edge in deconstructing the genre in this movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I think, like you said, it gives him that edge. It's like I kind of helped originate these formulas, so I think he did help Kevin Williamson in some ways. Like he probably tweaked the script a little bit, able to get his
What would have been your favorite kind of, Mark? What would have been your favorite line or kind of quote from the movie, Mark?
My favorite quote from the movie, probably that opening scene where Barrymore is arguing with the killer on the phone, and she's all, bullshit. I've seen Friday the 13th 100 times, and he's all, then you should know that Mrs. Voorhees is the killer, you stupid bitch.
Yeah. Ethel, what about yourself? Favorite quote from the movie, if you can remember any particular quote you liked?
I'm gonna go with the one from the trailer. I gotta go with do you like scary movies? Because it sounds ominous the way he says it.
Dan, what's your favorite quote from the movie?
Shit. That's a tough one because there's a lot of fun ones in there. Trying to think just about. It's not really a quote, but it's a whole back-to-back moment. Like everything there in the video store, like that whole back-to-back.
Oh, the conversation.
Yeah, that whole conversation between Randy, Stu, and then Billy. Like, how do we know you're not the killer? How do we know your movie freak mind didn't go off? He's like, well, it's the Millennium. Like, just that whole thing was just freaking brilliantly written and brilliantly acted. So, but I'd have to go with that whole video store exchange.
Yeah.
Okay, Kara, Rick, what about yourselves, guys? Had you a particular kind of line or quote that you enjoyed or you thought worked really well?
I've always liked my mom and dad are gonna be so mad.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah,
You're gonna be so pissed at me.
Yeah. And the other part when he's already wounded and his friend like bumps him and was like, "You hit me the phone,
that line was completely improvised. He actually responded that way because he got hit by a phone.
He got potato with it. It was legit potato. Oh wow. That's right. I'm thinking I never saw back. Oh man.
Yeah, I think
that's what I'm saying. I go like, dude, you can see the pain in his face. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like the knife wound I couldn't see, but when he got hit with that phone, you know, the tearing up behind the eyes a bit is just like,
yeah, he really got hit with that phone. He wasn't aiming for his head, but it still hit him in the head.
And it's made with that hard '90s technology plastic. Oh man.
Bakelite.
What, Kara? What about yourself? Have you a favorite quote?
I mean, there's a lot of the typical ones, but I kind of like to go with one of the lesser used ones. It's when they're in the video shop, and the everybody wants to rent something scary to watch because they're kind of doing like a lock-in for the murders, and some chick walks up to Randy and she says, "What's that movie with E.T.'s mom in it?" "Oh, the Halloween horror section."
Yeah. Deke, what about yourself, dude? Favorite quote?
Rules. If you want to survive, you have to follow the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always my favorite line because it seems to work for every horror movie. It's like, if you know the rules.
Never say
voice changer. That's what makes it, right?
Yeah. Never say you'll be right back. Never say I love you and then disappear from the room, and never say I've just had sex for the first time.
Exactly.
The whole premise is it's a slumber party and they're playing spin the bottle, and then you get that 7 minutes in heaven thing going on that they do.
Yeah, there's a movie called Virgins, which is basically based on the premise that everyone has to have sex because the killer is killing virgins only.
Oh, Cherry Falls.
Oh, that's it. Yes, Cherry Falls.
Michael Bean.
I like seeing you guys get your trivia all right. Like, you guys are cool, man. I like that. That was cool. Oh, no, the community helped the community. I thought that was a really cool moment right there. Cool, guys. That was cool.
Yeah, we have to thank Mark and Trash for organising it.
What's the name of the killer? What's the name of the killer that they say? Was it Cotton something? What?
Cotton Weary.
Cotton Weary. Like, there's something to that name that I just can't quite figure out. Cotton Weary, like, does anybody ever? You know how sometimes they make character names, but there's like they're combinations of different names, or they're symbolic. Cotton Weary. I always thought that, like,
maybe it's the name of an actual killer or something that's in reference to an actual killer.
Because the last time I felt like that about a character's name was Boo Radley. You know what I mean? Like Boo Radley, Cotton Weary. I go, I remember being a kid and watching Scream. I go, Cotton Weary. What kind of name is that? You know, like. Cotton Weary. They're just something, but when you say it like Cotton Weary, it sounds like when you're picking a Mortal Kombat character like Cotton Weary. Right? Like,
What fucking
like, it just sounds like that,
Mortal
you know?
Kombat were you playing? Cotton Weary, fatality.
Right.
That's Mortal Kombat with a C.
Yeah.
Like a character that what's his name, Jordan Peele would use, because he makes those subtle references in his movies, like it's symbolic of something.
I know. I didn't mean to bring up the weary like that. I was just.
No,
I always thought that was.
It's a good question.
It's all good and fun.
Yeah, and I always like digging deep into like names and letters and symbols and stuff.
Like Skid Ulrich's
and
character.
like Cotton Weary. What a interesting. It almost sounds like a nom de plume something, right?
Billy Loomis is obviously a reference to Halloween.
Or
like Dr. Loomis. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's all over the place. Yeah. I mean, it's Rex Craven too. I mean, he's weaving movie geometry through the whole movie. You know.
Rick, I just want to bounce over to Dan. Dan, is there any other references, character names that are references to your knowledge in the movie that might be kind of?
I mean, of course, there's the Town That Dreaded Sundown reference. Small, I don't know if it's a full-on reference, but there's a bad seed kind of quote going on there. Like, I'm afraid I'm going to be just like my mom, kind of a bad seed. It's like, that was a movie.
Yeah. That movie is filled with tropes.
Yeah, like it's got tropes, quotes. Trying to think of like other illusions that I know for a while I was watching that movie like constantly, just digging it apart. And
is that the one where the guy wears a thing on his head, honey? Or wears a bag on his head?
Yeah. Dreaded Sundown.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say there's a reference to the next door neighbors in the first Halloween movie.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember the name, the Mackenzie house.
Yeah, the Mackenzies.
And they actually did redo that in Halloween H2O also. They were like, go down to the Beckers. So I thought that was I have a lot of problems with H2O, but that was one thing I thought was kind of funny. Like, hey, they did the thing.
Hey, Dan, as bad as H2O was, at least it wasn't fucking Resurrection, man.
110%.
The thing that kills me about H2O is that the title was just as watery as the plot.
Absolutely.
What world, like Halloween Resurrection? Like, in what world can Buster Rhymes beat the crap out of Michael Myers? Like, explain to me that one.
Oh, I forgot Buster Rhymes was in that movie. That's right.
Yeah, if I didn't know any better, I would guess that Buster Rhymes not only acted in it but wrote and directed it. With
he threw money in it, right?
Yeah.
I definitely second that. Yeah, never thought about it that way, but yeah. Wow.
Like was this
some Buster money on it?
That he's always referencing? Is that what that was? That was Flip Mode?
Flip Mode Squad.
For which one?
God. Fucking Buster Rhymes. But no, like that's weird. On the Halloween side of things, there's also a scene where they're watching Halloween and they see Michael Myers pin the guy to the door with a knife. And they're making comments about, the blood's the wrong color. There's no blood in that scene, guy.
Overall, I don't know what kind of weird cut they were watching of Halloween.
Yeah,
because if you watch that and if you know Halloween like the back of your hand, you're like, no, this movie should be over by the point the party's escalating, because the way it's framed, X amount of time passes.
Yeah.
In X amount of time, that movie should have been over. They should be on to Hellraiser or Evil Dead by that point. So it's a really weird butchered cut, probably some German cut of Halloween.
I think my other favorite quote from Scream is right there near the end where Stu's on the phone with Sidney. So, Stu, why are you doing this? Peer pressure. It's a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole bit. Once Stu starts losing his blood and, of course, oxygen in his freaking mind, it gets pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, starting to realize this might have been a bad idea.
He did not think this through. The fucking idiots did not think this through.
Oh man.
Question: Do you think Billy had planned on offing Stu anyway?
From the way the way they framed it and the way they worded it and it right there near the end, I would say yeah. I think Billy had planned that he was going to be the sole survivor of the massacre.
Yeah. See, I was thinking they both would have survived, but when he, like, you could see in the way he reacts when Stu stabs him that he gets a little aggressive in his stabbing back. So I think it was only the pain of the stab into his body kind of sent him into that. Okay, you know what? Fuck this. I'm just gonna use you until everyone else is dead. But
exactly.
Sorry to interject very quickly. Cotton V's Weary. Case from 1975. Man is falsely sent to prison for the rape and murder of his mother-in-law.
Wow.
On the testimony of
Very close.
yeah, on the testimony of her daughter, who it turns out was mistaken with the identity.
Oh,
That's really good. So it actually does fit into the plot, the Cotton Weary name.
Yeah, it's just Cotton V's Weary because it was a civil case that ended up in him being released because of new evidence.
Oh, Cotton versus Weary.
See, like, awesome. Like, man, cool.
Good catch.
Man, kudos.
Yeah, it's just something you piqued my interest, so I decided to have a look.
Oh, yeah.
Open forum question mark, if you don't want me posing it.
Go for it.
Why do you think this movie is in high regard as opposed to the other follow-ups and sequels? They have their issues and stuff, but why do you think this one? Why do you think this one is kind of the longevity and the love is the strongest out of all of them? Is it simply it's the better movie, or is it just it is the one that points out all the tropes and then the rest just become tropes upon themselves?
I'm going to give you my this is just my answer and my opinion. For me, the reason why Scream, the original Scream, it has the longevity it has, and is probably considered the best in the franchises. To me, it sets it's that opening scene where it really sets the standard that nobody is safe in this movie. That you had your biggest star and Drew Barrymore killed in the first 15 minutes. So to me, I think that is that right there.
Sorry, man.
No, I was just saying that that opening scene sets the bar very high, and I don't think they ever recreated anything in the rest of the franchise that equaled or surpassed that.
Yeah, especially since it was ballsy for a beginning move to kill off the main character, or the one that people thought was going to be the main character.
Right.
Again, it was the Janet Leigh. It was the Janet Leigh moment in the thing. Ethel, why do you think out of all of them this one is held in such high acclaim? Is it simply that it's the best out of them, or it's the thing that establishes the trope, and then by the latter ones everything is kind of drawn out or kind of the norm, or what do you think?
Well, I think it's twofold. I think one that it's simply technically the better movie out of the franchise, and I think the other one is sort of a more subtle thing. Like I mentioned earlier, it's sort of reinvigorated the slasher genre, which, as Mark had mentioned when we started, was waning at the time. Like it was falling by the wayside, guys. We were moving out of the slasher territory. We were on to other kinds of movies. Like it was in danger. It was in danger, and this gave it a lift.
Yeah.
Dan. Oh, sorry, Deacon.
Dan, yeah. After you, Dan.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just has to do with the splash that it made. It kind of rang a note that is still resonating even 25 years later. It's just it really, in a lot of ways, not only did it help to rejuvenate slashers, but it pointed out a lot of things that audiences have probably been thinking for the last decade at that point. And a lot of people caught the wink. They caught the joke, as it were. And I know there's some folks who aren't receptive to it. They absolutely loathe this film. But I think it was really just the way it addresses horror. It's simply the way the film is and what the film is. I think at face value is really what makes it still great today. It's very I know a real simple explanation, but that's the only thing I could really think about that. And of course the iconic mask back there was, I mean, I remember that fucking thing was everywhere, so it was marketed in a certain way to where, I don't know, you couldn't turn your head in the 90s and not see Scream.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had a similar phenomenon as the Blair Witch Project in that regards. There wasn't anywhere you could turn without seeing it advertised somewhere in some fashion. But yeah, I think everybody's kind of right. When it came to Scream, it sat there and went, okay, slasher movies became a little bit formulaic. Let's shake it up. Let's change the formula.
Totally.
Yeah. And thank goodness, like they used that mask and like that became like a thing, because that gave us all a new mask to wear on Halloween night and have fun with. So like
the outline is based on Edvard Munch's The Scream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the good news is about those masks, unlike the other ones, it doesn't cover you completely, so you can actually breathe and don't get too sweaty underneath it.
Yeah, they use that black fabric mesh material that you can see through and breathe through. It's very clever, and
However,
rip that off.
However, the peripheral vision does suck in that, so that's one thing I gotta give.
Yeah.
I gotta hand
How
that
the
to every
fuck did
killer
they
in the
murder
franchise.
so many people with that mask on?
Like, I gave it a test run because I got the robe too, so I decked myself out completely and ran around my house, just kind of like so. I was doing an experiment there. It's like, okay, I hit my shin like 5 different times on the coffee table, couch, what have you. Almost stepped on my cat. I don't fault the killers for being clumsy as they are throughout these films.
Oh yeah, trust me. I used to do LARP, so running around in the dark in a forest while wearing a mask and a robe, trying to sneak up on people, you're going to trip over everything in your way.
Exactly.
Hit everybody with your foam bat.
Yeah.
Carol, why do you think this movie has had the longevity it's had?
I would agree with a lot of what's already been said, is that everything was very formulaic, so part of the joke was bringing that to light and actually showing it, which kind of in a weird sense refreshed it. And yeah, it forced a lot of people to up their game, like, yeah, we can't use the same formula, we have to change things up. So films during that era changed a lot, and as I don't remember what you said before, but yeah, the movie was very self-aware. It was a joke on itself, but it also made fun of us, because it's like, you love this shit and you didn't catch on it? Come on.
Yeah. It's very tongue in cheek.
It really is.
I have a bit of a controversial and kind of contradictory opinion. Do you think, in a way, while it reinvented the franchise, it also kind of locked the franchise into this perpetual kind of cycle of, like, well, you've got Urban Legend, you've got I Know What You Did Last Summer. While it didn't reinvent it, it did kind of make tropes of its own. Like we ended up getting a bunch of kind of imitators. Yeah, for lack of a better term. Do you think that
pretenders to the crew.
There was definitely a slasher revival because of this film, for sure. I mean, the last one was in the 70s and we were waiting until the 90s. Well, 80s and then 90s until the next one.
Like, do you think that was a good? Do you think that was a good or bad thing, Cara?
I don't think it's a bad thing, especially because they challenged everybody to reinvent and make everything new. So say if we, I mean, I don't see it slashers coming back in the era of COVID because everything's more difficult to do now, but it definitely gives people more of a challenge, like rethink how to do this, how to do that. I mean, if people can make low budget films while there's actually a hardware convention going on and film around the events of the convention and make it look like the horror convention actually had a horror movie taking place inside of it. I mean, the sky's the limit.
Mark, what about you? Do you think it was a kind of the Scream was a double-edged sword in some of the imitators and some of the kind of follow-ons?
I think yes and no. I think yes that it gave, it opened the doorway for a lot of people to imitate it. But if you look at each one of those movies, they're very different from Scream in that the characters in the like I Know What You Did Last Summer, they're not as self-aware as characters are in Scream.
Yeah, you could see the characters in Scream watching I Know What You Did Last Summer and taking the piss out of them.
Yeah. So I think without Scream, there is no I Know What You Did Last Summer or any other movie franchise that is like it. Again, like I said earlier, the slasher genre was pretty much dead by 1996, and Wes Craven gave it a shot in the arm.
I know it's in relation to the third movie, and we're probably not going to do that for another 2 weeks. But Natalie has a question there, Mark. Do you want to pose it to the people?
Ooh.
Okay, so Natalie asked, who else thought that it was weird but mind-blowing that Roman was Sidney's half-brother? I didn't find it so much as mind-blowing as I did weird that Sidney would have a half-brother out there and not know about it.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but given I'm probably going to be a dick, but given Sidney's mother's track record, not too surprised.
Now, if Roman had been her paternal half brother, I think it would have been less of a head scratcher. Like, it would have made a little more sense, I think. But yeah, like, I honestly don't know how I feel about that. Like, Scream 3 is one that, for the most part, I have to turn my brain like almost all the way off. I have to put it in like neutral just to really sit through that one and not raise complaints about it.
And pick it up.
I try not to think about the half brother thing too much. It's like I get that they're trying to. They had to do something to really follow Randy's rules of the trilogy, which is something from the past is going to come back in a really new and ooh ah kind of way, and that was one such thing. It's like, okay, that works, I guess. All I gotta say about that though is justice for Lance Henriksen.
Oh yeah.
Even though he was a total creep.
Yeah, Lance Henriksen is great in Scream 3. My take on it, Roman was just put in that movie as, you know, as a plot twist. If you took him out of that movie, you wouldn't miss it. It just he, to me, the Roman character just felt like he was there to be there. But you could have built that movie around Lance Henriksen's character, and you could have made it more of a I guess like a detective movie where Sydney's going on the journey to find out, okay, just how bad was my mom really.
The one thing that always makes me laugh is the fucking Egypt goes into the house. I'm fairly sure propane has some kind of smell, and he's just looking at the script. Who's gonna die next? And he flicks the lighter and blows up. I was like, that's fucking stupid, but it's hilarious as well.
Yeah.
He should have noticed. Propane, it smells like farts. How do you not notice that?
Yeah.
Unless they're reading like bean dip nachos or something at the whole party, so it's just like it already smelled that way, so no one questioned it.
Deviled egg sandwiches and 5-bean salad.
They're like, the 7-layer fish is amazing. Who's gonna die next? Kaboom!
Whoever smells the gas. I wonder what that means.
You may not have smelt it, but you will feel it. Who smelt it?
They really felt.
You guys.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, that's one.
I was gonna say they really took that joke. He who smelt it dealt it seriously. They didn't want to.
Right. He who smelt it may not have smelt it, but certainly felt it.
Yeah, definitely burnt your butts on that one.
I know, Mark, you're focusing on the movies for the following weekends, but does anyone want to touch on the series? And anyone have any thoughts on the series? Did anyone watch the series?
I watched the series. I appreciated it for what it was, but I didn't really think it belonged in the Scream franchise.
It felt very High School Musically for me, or 13 Reasons. 13 Reasons to Kill.
Or a high school or a high school homicide.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dan, did you watch the series, and what did you think of it if you did?
I did not, but from what I've heard, it sounds like it took Kevin Williamson's Dawson Creek resume, and it's like, hey, let's run with that. Let's run with that angle. That's just my pick.
No, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
Dawson.
But if they had,
you didn't have a Dawson.
To be over.
Yeah. I mean, when it came to the series, I will admit, if they had changed it from being a Scream copy to something a bit more original, even just a different killer, different mask, different name, it could have worked. But associating it with Scream it didn't work.
It came out the same time, I think, as Scream Queens, right?
Yeah.
It did.
And and fucking American Horror Story was doing the kind of Coven fucking storyline as well. So you had kind of, I don't know, fucking.
You were oversaturated with
Then Then delay airing it for a couple of months. Change the premise.
I would have.
Yeah, because that having it associated with Scream didn't help it in the slightest.
No.
It had to be its own thing.
I do remember feeling pretty negative about that whenever it was being announced back whenever it was like, and seeing that it was being handled by MTV certainly didn't help anything.
Those fucking astronauts.
Fucking astronauts.
Put the MTV flag on the moon, bastards.
Like, you land the man on the moon to broadcast MTV, but you can't fucking rebrand Scream? What the fuck, man?
Yeah, it's kind of like, dude, come on. I know you're kind of like surfer dudes who like to get high and listen to all sorts of hippie music, but come on, do something.
Exactly.
I like that. Put a man on the moon to broadcast MTV. All that technology just to broadcast MTV, man. That's the pinnacle.
I find it strange that when MTV started, they stopped airing the Clangers or making new episodes. So does that mean MTV killed the Clangers?
What?
Wait,
You mean
what?
the astronaut killed the clan? Wait, you never heard
Yeah.
of the clanners, Little? There were
Oh,
these
God.
robot mice. There were these robot mice that lived on the moon, and they had to feed the soup dragon.
Oh,
This,
And
On
yeah,
MTV,
run it. Wait,
like
but
back in
that's
the day.
wait.
trash. Oh god, I'm very tempted to find a little clip now just to play it for people, just so they have, because they need context.
this actually exists. This isn't fucking me and
Let,
Deacon
let,
hoping
let me find the clip.
Is this something we had here, or was this over in England land?
No, it was everywhere. I remember
Okay,
seeing it.
I don't recall this at all. This is
You
a
don't
new
remember
one.
the soup dragon?
I remember the band, the Soup Dragons.
MTV used to do
I
music
found it. I found it. I found it.
Sorry, Dan?
MTV used to do music videos?
Yeah, that. But
Oh.
like, I remember the Mechanical Mice and the Soup Dragon. I don't remember that.
Yeah, if Mark allows it, I can share my screen and I can play you a small 2-minute clip of the series. Denied? Why denied?
I just interject.
I... No stairway. Denied.
Oh, poor Major Clanger. He's had a very hard day.
Yeah, now he's bitching the wife is fucking roaring at him.
What he needs is a mug of soup. Small Clanger will
Go
fetch
up,
it.
milk the fucking dragon, you cunt.
Oh, I
Tiny
can,
Clanger wants to
I
come
can
too.
jump to the dragon.
Fuck. I'm going to hell now. Here, grind it.
You don't have to sit through the whole thing because that would be torturous. But that's the Clangers.
I've never seen that before ever. I probably would have watched it though, but wow.
Here's something for you, Ethel, then, and for all those who enjoyed the Clangers. They're actually talking. They're using pool whistles, and they're actually talking through the pool whistle. So if you get a pool whistle and mimic the sound, you can actually hear what the Clangers are actually saying.
Oh.
In a couple of episodes, you can actually hear the guy, after a bit of translation, go, "Oh, fuck this."
Yeah, no. So what this was on MTV before they changed their name to MTV. It's sort of like a comedy channel becomes Comedy Central type of deal.
I think so.
That was the children's feed. That was
Yeah.
BBC, right?
Oh no, it's just where I had the idea of if because the Clangers finished as soon as MTV started, does that mean MTV killed the Clangers?
Oh, okay. So it wasn't the same channel.
Yeah. We theorized that the astronaut from MTV murdered him.
Yeah,
With
and
the
killed,
flag.
and brought the Soup Dragon back to sing all of the intros.
Probably stepped on him.
More
But
than
no-
likely.
But no, that show looks like something that was designed just so you could sit there and get fucking high all day and just watch that.
Oh yeah, like the Magic Roundabout. Dan.
Pretty much.
Magic Roundabout?
So which one?
The Magic Roundabout, the ultimate stoner cartoon show.
Oh god, do I need to find another clip? I will if I have to. Okay, I'll find a clip.
We're hijacking the stream, but as long as Mark's okay with that.
Mark, you okay with us?
I'm okay with it.
Hijacked streams are always the best, though.
Right, you're right though. That is definitely like Adult Swim material, Dan. Like that's totally forgettable too. Like if you're so inclined to indulge in the even left-handed cigarettes, like that's your bag.
Absolutely.
Touchy on the left-hand side. Is that a fucking rule? Where did that come from? It has to be the left-hand side. You pass the old fucking doobie.
Well, you're supposed to go clockwise, I thought.
You pass it to the left when it started being called the Devil's Lettuce, because passing it to the left is a demonic act. Right hand of the devil, left hand of the devil, right hand of God.
It's the happy hour with Cookie the Clown. Hello! Have you finished your homework? Have you made your mommy and daddy really happy?
I just sound like clown.
Roll up, roll up. I have a special announcement.
Oh, I'm not even
to
watching.
me, everyone. To me.
Oh my god, I'm so
Come
sorry.
along. Don't be shy. Now, where is everyone? Never here when you want everyone. To me,
Someone get that
everyone.
fucking drum away from that cow.
Tragic irony of a cow beating a drum.
I know. You're beating a cousin.
Dylan arrived to see
Maybe
what all the
enjoys
fuss
it
was
though.
about. And he asked Ermintrude to give him a
Are
ride.
cows kinky?
You'll have to pay, dear.
Maybe.
Pay?
Or is that
Dylan,
utterly
like,
ridiculous?
Pay?
Is this
Opens a lot of doors.
Oh, no, ma'am. Why pay? I'm a boss.
Wait, is this
Now get off.
another product from BBC?
Dougal
Where's my
decided
British-
to take action. Now wait a moment, he said. Now wait
People.
just one moment.
Had enough torture?
What's all
A little
this
bit.
about
I
being a
think so.
boss?
But that's the magic
Right.
roundabout. Not the weirdest one out there.
I'm speechless as to what the hell that was.
My childhood.
Children's TV, Dan. That was children's
It
TV.
reminds
Yeah.
me of that same kind of animation that's in that Radiohead video for Burn the Witch.
Oh,
And
trust me.
wasn't that based on a children's show too?
If we were to say Bagpuss, would people understand Trashed?
No one would understand Bagpuss, man. Fucking no one would understand Henry's cat. Fucking hell.
Dear God.
I just like the way Filthy Dan's looking, going, what do you mean Bagpuss, and why was this for kids?
We're wandering into Santa and the ice cream bunny territory, guys. Just saying.
Keep in mind, right, guys, this was the decade after the Beatles. And people done a lot of fucking drugs in England at the time. So this was a byproduct of said fucking drugs.
Actually, the Magic Roundabout was French.
Oh, fuck, I did not know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
God,
dubbed in
that's-
English. It was dubbed in English. Yeah, and believe it or not, I feel they actually had to monitor the language a bit more for the English dub, because in France, their view on swear words and the people who can say them and understand them is a bit different than in England.
Well, they've had a lot of wine, Deacon. They've had a lot of wine.
Oh yeah, and they had to change one word because the bunny boy, sorry, no, not the bunny boy, Dougal, the dog, he's always after sugar. But unfortunately, due to the way the French actor was saying sugar, and the French word for sugar is a bit weird, it sounded like he was saying acid. So I need acid.
Oh yeah, that might be problematic in post psychedelic Britain.
Okay, another round forum question. Mark, one kid show you remember growing up with that was like meant for kids but was actually really fucked up in retrospect? Okay, is there any you can think of?
Even though it's supposed to be lighthearted, you gotta go Fraggle Rock, man. I mean, it's a Muppet show, but the guys are always wanting to eat the fucking Fraggles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone wants to eat everybody else.
Circle of life. Ethel, any kid show that you actually thought was kind of fucked up or had weird shit or drug references or growing up, anything that was...
Ren and Stimpy. I have to go with Ren and Stimpy on this one.
Yeah, that was off the fucking scene, like...
Yeah, when you read up on that show, Jesus.
Would you like to buy some rubber nipples? A fucking horse.
How about their last episode that cannot be aired uncensored on any channel?
What happened on that one?
Oh, that one, Ren and Stimpy go to the beach and Ren becomes completely babe obsessed, and it's basically hentai porn but no penetration.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's their last episode.
I like one with Gilbert Gottfried where Stimpy crawls into his belly button and he meets the belly button lint gnome, Gilbert Gottfried. That was great.
Dan, have you any fucked up cartoons from your childhood that you were like, how the fuck did these get shown to kids?
Like, in retrospect, yeah. I mean, and this is gonna really date me a little bit. Ed, Edd and Eddy is one that I look back at. It's like, I don't know. There's just a lot of weird shit going on there. I mean, no parents around.
Don't they fill a bathtub full of gravy? One of them wants to actually fucking have a bath in gravy.
Yeah, that's
I
Ed,
think so.
stupid one. He's obsessed with gravy.
Yeah, gravy, butter toast, and chickens were like his. That's what turned his crank.
There's a dark theory about that show.
Yes, that's one thing that makes it a lot different to watch. It's like they're all in purgatory essentially. Like they're all dead kids, so that's why the parents aren't around. But what really always threw me off, even as a kid, it's a minor little art detail. So they all had different colored tongues. Like that, I don't know why. That always freaked me the fuck out as a kid. Like, why? But a lot of those late '90s, early 2000s Cartoon Network shows were really they got a lot of shit that's pretty dark when you go back and look at it. It was
Dan, did you watch Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Yes.
There's one episode where he opens a door and there's a 3D model of a fetus, a blue fetus that turns to him and goes, "Life is meaningless. The moment you're born, you die." And it's like, what the
I don't remember that one, but I remember the animation in that show could go from like real lighthearted to fairly creepy to just otherworldly terrifying. Because they would do they did the 2D, but they would mix this like computer generated 3D that was like, that
was the baby one. That was like something out of an Aphex Twin music video. It was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, but it appeared in a lot of the episodes. I mean, the one where it's the ghost of the cursed being, which is just a crappily generated CGI being. So it's unnatural, unsettling, and bizarre. But I think for me, it would have to be Rocco's Modern Life.
Is that the one with the chicken?
No. Rocco's Modern Life is the one where it's a wallaby, a cow, and a turtle who are all anthropomorphic, and they deal with world's struggles in the most weirdest, sickest ways possible. Kind of like, oh my god, I've got the flu. So the story's about the flu. And the three main characters that pop in it, just to sing a few songs, are the Upchucks. A piece of pizza, a half-eaten hot dog, and something else, and they sit there going, "This is what we do to your body. We make you vomit."
Yeah, I remember. I remember sometimes mixing that up with Cat Dog and I Am Weasel.
I am Weasel.
Weasel. Cara, Rick, what about you guys? Did you have any kind of weird, messed up kind of shows you watched as a kid that you're like, how did they get away with this stuff back in the day?
I was kind of thinking Rocco also. I know there was an episode where, who was it? Rocco's dog was in love with a mop and it sneaks into a closet and you hear all these sounds. And
Spunky.
Yeah, Spunky. And then they send him to the psychiatrist, and then the psychiatrist does the same thing. He runs off with the dog's mop.
Rocco's Modern Life. Rocco's Modern Life.
But yeah, I think the weirdest family situation in that entire cartoon is Heifer, a say 21-year-old large cow that is being raised by a family of wolves.
Yeah.
It was good though. I like Rocco's Modern Life.
Yes, I liked it. It's just, in retrospect, that shouldn't have been on kids' TV. That should have been kind of like Adult Swim material.
I agree. I didn't notice that until watching it as an adult. I was like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, they could have gone really far with these shows if they were geared towards that older audience, because then they wouldn't have to like meter themselves as much as they were. Not that they really were, but like, could you imagine?
I think, and I'm not trying to be like the old man fucking shaking his hand at the cloud, but I just think kids and people our generation back then were just tougher. Like we were able to fucking take kids nowadays. They'd be, I'm gonna complain on Twitter. I'm gonna give out about this on Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, everybody, I don't know what in the world, it started with censoring, and then from there, everyone just developed a jellyfish spine. It's like, what's wrong with everyone?
Like, I'm worried. Sorry, Ethel?
I said they were all made of cartilage. I was agreeing with like sharks or jellyfish, you know? They're fucking
Because there's only one cartoon I can think of in recent years, and I mean the last decade, where it's kind of like at the same time that our shows used to be on, and it's a little bit risque, and it's called Pets in Pants.
I've not seen that.
Yeah, it's weird. A bunch of pets that are cartoons running around in pants, and they have to deal with soiling themselves, snotting over stuff, breaking stuff, being absolutely little shits. And at the end of each day, they get punished by having their pants washed. Yeah, it's weird.
It's a strange one.
I know Cow and Chicken was a weird one. I don't remember if it was like overtly like kind of adult related, because I haven't really seen it since I was a little guy. But I do remember that show was batshit insane. I mean, you got a cow and a chicken who are brother and sister. Their parents are the bottom halves of two humans whose top halves are completely separated. There's like a red devil that they associate with. I don't know that. I just remember that show was insanely It was an otherworldly programming.
Cow joined up with a female group of bikers who went around to different locations and started eating people's random rugs. I remember that. They were called the Rug Munchers.
And the devil guy that you're thinking of used to introduce himself by walking backwards, tweaking his butt cheeks, going, "Hello there."
I do remember he had a red rotund ass, now that you mention it.
Yeah, he was the one who was overly, shall we say, risque. He was the one who would be kind of like, "Would you like to pull on my tail?"
Yeah, almost like a template for him for the Powerpuff Girls, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one.
I just think that fucking cartoons now are just too sanitized and too fucking safe.
Well, you talk down to the viewer. Like, I've noticed that. Like, there's a lot more talk down to the children kind of thing going on. Like, instead of just discussing that, like, all different children have different levels of, like, contemporary intelligence.
Yeah, they're missing what I call the Jim Henson touch. They're pandering to the children, but not educating or helping the children.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry, Kara.
Oh,
no, I was going to say, Deacon mentioned Jim Henson. I was going to mention earlier, Dinosaurs was a good example of that. It's a kid's show that adults can watch. They touched on a lot of adult themes, like, equal rights for women. They touched on political issues like Desert Storm. I think they even had an abortion episode.
Yeah, and
the last episode was dark. They all fucking died. They all fucking died in the last episode.
And it was an episode that was to wrap up the series to show how the dinosaurs died, but they also wanted to go on an environmental message.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, if you sacrifice something in nature, you're going to sacrifice something else.
But, like, the environmental message portion, it kind of takes away from it a little bit for me because it dates the show. Because in that era, everything is like, the environment, the ozone, the environment, like it's not quite as bad now, but
it wasn't patronizing.
Yeah.
It wasn't Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
Yeah,
you got that right. Yeah, it was like, if we don't cop the fuck on, we're fucked. It's like there's no like, we can save this, we can turn this. No, they were fucked. They were dead. They were freeze to death. Even the baby, even the cute baby dinosaur, was going to freeze fucking dead. And it's like that's got balls, like, you know.
Yeah.
What kind of
the 90s were really big on conservation. I mean, you even had, even though it was Troma, but you still had the Toxic Crusaders and Captain Planet, and I forget what else, but Reduce, Reuse, Recycle was a big campaign at the time. And I mean, it hooked me as a kid. I mean, it still influences the way I choose to do certain things today. So, I mean, not everything is bad.
No, I just, it's like it was so ham-fisted, you know, and it was everywhere. It's like, guys, calm down a little bit. Calm down. You know, it's like, sit down.
I'm with Ethel in the whole, like, it is an important message, but like, when you do it wrong, especially fucking Captain Planet tried tackling issues of race and apartheid, and then it came to Ireland and tried to do the whole, you know, people in North and South and Protestant, all you got to do is open up a bakery and not use a nuclear weapon to blow up fucking the Protestants. It's like, what? Where the fuck are you getting this from?
It's weird. And then they had their infamous AIDS episode, you know, of
Captain Planet. They were not equipped to deal with those kind of subjects. They weren't even equipped to deal with environmental subjects.
You had fucking Jeff Goldblum as an anthropomorphic rat printing out leaflets saying that fucking Neil Patrick Harris shouldn't be on the basketball team because he's got AIDS. It's like, what fucking world are you listening to?
Like, what are we even watching, guys? You know, it's like,
Dan's like, what the fuck?
It's like, I don't know, man. It's like, I'm just fucking speechless at this point. I'm just listening and just taking it all in. Like this is great.
And the good news is, so far, I've been behaving myself. I'm so proud of me.
Usually the shit stir yourself over there, Deacon.
Oh no, I'm usually the guy that will sit there and go, okay, you do realize the darkest conclusion to this is this.
We usually, in fairness, Mark, do you think we're doing fairly well considering we're on 1 hour 50 minutes and it hasn't evolved into talking about, well, Trenchy's not here, so
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about
Yeah. So currently there's no talk of molestation at all, so that's good.
Right now, Trenchy is on with Anthro and Collector Man, and he's just like, I'm not being sexually abused verbally. It's nice.
I'm not being strip searched and asked where's my coat at.
It wouldn't be a stream unless we were making fucking poor old Trenchy feel uncomfortable. But I always ask, I was like, dude, if we ever go beyond the pale, will you please fucking tell us? And he's like, no, it's cool, man, it's cool. I'm like, I genuinely worry that we're going to break the poor child's mind one of these days.
Oh, don't worry.
Last night.
But don't worry, Trenchy always know. Oh, after you, Apple.
I was gonna say, yeah, me and Trenchy, we've developed a safe word, so we can put the brakes on this stuff when it goes too far.
You have to explain that to his sister as well. His sister and his mother would walk in, and you have to explain the weasels. You have to explain what fucking Jennifer was saying about the weasels to his mother. He's like, I gotta go offline. My mother heard about us talking about weasels. Me sticking weasels up my ass, and I gotta explain it to Mom. I was like, oh Christ, the poor guy.
Gotta explain to Mom and my sister why I have a safe word with a girl named Ethel on the internet. Gotta do it.
And I also have to explain to my parents why I'm not allowed to go to the museum with a stepladder.
I'm just waiting for him to have to explain the whole lactating grilled cheese sandwich.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So okay, bit of context for Dan here, right? We were fucking talking about stuff. If you could do different stuff, what would you do? And Trenchy was like, oh man, it'd be so cool if I could lactate. I'd use my own milk, and I could make my own cheese and have my own grilled cheese sandwiches. And we're like,
oh shit.
Okay, right. I have to say something here. Trenchy, if you're listening, make sure you pay attention. Just because I told you at some point a while ago that there is a condition that can cause men to lactate does not mean that you're going to start lactating. And believe me, it's not usable.
It gets better, Deacon.
He told us about the Walt
It gets
Disney.
much better.
Deacon, you know about the Walt Disney proxy, right?
Yeah.
You know that, like, if a man can give birth, Walt Disney will hand over the rights to Disney World to said man.
Yeah, so there's a whole transgender thing going at the moment where they're trying to bar transgendered men from giving birth.
Yeah, it's fucking. But Trenchy was like, I want to shit out a baby so I can own Disney World, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Well, wouldn't that also apply if someone happens to be a hermaphrodite, but they just tend to look like one gender more than another?
Unfortunately, it would have to be a gender that's clearly defined, because unfortunately, although he was a bit progressive, Walt Disney was not that progressive.
What would, like, if you're a hermaphrodite, it wouldn't matter anyway, because 99.9% of hermaphrodites born are sterile from birth because they don't have properly developed organs.
Stream, everyone. Welcome to Mark's.
In other words, they can give. In other words, they can give both pleasures, but not suffer either of the pains.
But remember, at the start of the stream, Percy did give us permission to talk about it.
Ghostface actually a hermaphrodite. A lot of people don't know this. Yeah, he had both.
Oh, no wonder he's always got the face.
Oh God.
Hey,
now
you said it, not me.
Now you know we've reached the almost 2-hour mark as we've devolved into this. It's come to this. It's come to this.
Bam.
Yep. It's time for evolution to work backwards, people.
At one point last night, Trash was worried about Trinchy catching a boner on his shoulders and drilling it into the back of his head.
Yeah, I was like, that's why I'm never carrying. I'm not carrying Trenchy on my shoulders. It's like, or at worst, it just flops over the top of the head, and I look like some weird mutant Teletubby with some weird fucking phallic tin sticking out the top of my fucking noodle.
Can you imagine if he's actually laying backwards so they can't actually see him? They can just see his thing, and you look like the old man with the bird thing on the top of his head from the labyrinth.
God, no.
My show is now rated R, according to Natalie.
Let's go for that NC-17 rating, eh?
Oh, hell yeah.
NC-17? Hell no.
I think she was the only reason that kept Trinchy moderately sane. She's like, Trinchy, breathe. You're going off the deep end now.
It's not that we're evil, we're just cruel, sadistic people.
Yes.
Dan, have you any streams or projects or anything in the pipeline?
Shit, dude, I got a heavy load going on right now. I got let's see here. Well, I got the Friday the 13th series coming starting at the end of the month. Got the first one already in the bag. I know on Friday I've got a show talking about a developing post George Romero film, which is what he would have wanted to end his Living Dead series on. I got Robbie Sobel coming on for that because he's the Romero guy that I know. Let's see what else. I do want to also do a show talking about The Strangers, both films, because I did the reviews for both of those. But yeah, it's really just a lot of Friday the 13th prep mostly at the moment.
Cool beans. I always like your stuff, man, because you go that extra mile, and you usually have someone who's just as passionate about yourself bouncing off you. So that's like.
Thank you.
Well, what about yourself, Cara? What's next in the pipeline?
Not really anything planned. Probably some. I have a few tags I needed to catch up on, and then I just have some like film discussion stuff that I've been wanting to work on. But that's about it.
Cool beans. I like it's always awesome to see some of the stuff you pop out as well. Like, you know, I myself and Trench are still trying to track down that movie that you wanted to do a collab on. Hopefully we'll find it.
Oh.
Which movie? So I might better find it.
Yeah.
Darklings. Okay.
But yeah, no. The other thing I love is the if you get a chance, guys, go out check out Cara's. She put on a public domain movie for Cinco de Mayo, and I was expecting like a mummy horror. All of a sudden, this fucking superhero luchador turns up and starts like. I was like, oh, this is brilliant. You got Dick Tracy gangsters, you got a luchador, and you've got an Aztec zombie. I mean, fucking throw in the kitchen sink. You got everything. Definitely check out Cara's public domain movies as well.
Great, Cara. I enjoyed it.
Now, Cara, that's the film that precedes Robot versus the Aztec Mummy, isn't it?
Yes.
Which is also public domain.
Yeah, it is.
It was great fun. It was good crack, and you done nice at the Triffids. And the other cool thing is, because I'm a big fiend for audio plays, particularly audio adaptations of movies. I think Cara had American Werewolf in London as well, and they got a majority of the cast back to do the audio of that.
The Darklings 1999. Is that the movie?
I think that's it.
Cool. If it is, I found it.
See, I think it's an anthology horror, or at least it should be. I thought it was from the early 2000s.
Because there's too many The Darklings.
Darklings ducks.
The Dark Tapes.
But what Marty's saying is, guys, if you're not subscribed or watching horror retrospectives, Kara's channel, like you should be, dude. Don't sleep on this. Come on.
Yeah, and the same for Dan's. I mean, look at that man's hair. That is the most sexual head of hair I have ever seen.
Dude, there's days, not to sound full of myself, but man, there are days where I just want to fucking split, like kind of like the Multiple Man, just fucking bend myself over and just give it to me, man.
Nice. Deke, have you anything coming up, dude?
No, for the time being, everything has come to a screeching halt.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
I was supposed to be doing a really good, and in fairness, the man done some fucking awesome work. But I had too many fucking plates spinning. But Deacon had done a really good video for the Alien Day. But hopefully we might cobble it back together again for next year. But
next year's a good date.
Yeah. Ethel, what about yourself? What's next in the pipeline? What do we got on tomorrow again?
Next in the pipeline, guys, tomorrow we got the Dynamic Robot stream, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central Time Zone, and 3:30 Pacific Time, and what is that? Like 11:30 GMT, you guys' time. Dynamic robots, guys. We're talking about science fiction robots, horror robots. We're talking about all the crazy robots, all the cool robots, androids, what have you, mechanical beings of all sorts. Also, we got Yongari episode of Trash Picture Theater. It is uploading currently. Should be out sometime Sunday, maybe Monday, but it should be out relatively soon. I'm waiting for the hamsters to deliver the hard disk copies to YouTube Central. It's a crazy network of small rodents I have, working my shit. But I got that going on, and this Friday, guys, 20 million miles to Earth. We're doing a watch along. Marty over here recommended 20 million miles to Earth. I put it up for votes. It quickly won the day. Came in real strong, finished real strong. Harry has it, guys. So
Can't go wrong with stop motion. Plug. Yeah. Check out my stop motion. Our prestigious host and the man who kindly let us all onto the fucking channel and ran away. Mark, you got anything else in the pipeline? I know you're doing the Scream movies, but have you any tags or anything you're going doing or anything like that?
I don't have any tags that I'm gonna do, but I am gonna be talking about. I'm just gonna do a little retrospective on Wes Craven.
Ooh.
Because to me that is my favorite director besides Hitchcock. And I can't think of any other director that has done as much for the the quote unquote slasher genre than Wes Craven.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad and weird that we lost a bunch of like fucking titans from 80s horror. And like we lost Tobe Hooper and we lost fucking Gunnar Hansen. Well, we lost other horror directors and creators as well like all in the one kind of space of time. George Romero, yeah. They all seem to pass away around the same kind of roughly around the same time.
I think there's going to be a conspiracy theorist out there who's going to be sitting there going, I wonder if people are picking them up to make room for new actors.
No, but
It's like, no.
They were all from that kind of, dare I say, baby boomer generation. Would that be right?
Yeah.
They were the boomers. The boomers.
Okay, boomer. Time to go.
Okay, boomer.
But in this case, Boomer did not live, and they unfortunately have passed, and it's very sad. Now we have what we have going on for like current day people.
I'm not going to sit here and say that the current day movie directors are garbage, because they're not. Some of the movies I've seen are really well done. Like Jordan Peele, Ari Aster, those guys are really good at what they do. I can't sit there and say I cannot sit there and say, oh, these guys are just have no clue what they're doing. But when it comes to like 70s, 80s, even 90s, I would take Carpenter, Hooper, and Craven over any of these guys that are out nowadays.
We still have
a few directors. Oh, sorry, Ethel. What?
I was gonna say we still have Carpenter though. He's still kicking.
Yeah, he's still Carpenter is the one that has outlived them all, and he's nowhere near. He smokes like a fiend.
You said Carpenter, and that pulled me right back in, man.
It is.
Are you like Beetlejuice?
It's strange. Out of all those lads, that like Carpenter's still the one that's taken, considering he's the most hard-living fucker out of them all. It's like,
he just needs to get off his lazy ass and make another film, man. Shit. He openly admits that I'm lazy. I love it when they remake my films. I open my hand, they give me the check, and I continue watching basketball. Like, I just love how open he is about the whole curmudgeon-y, grinchy deal that he's got going on. Like,
yeah,
it's like I would like him to get his ass back out there and give us one last great film.
He done an interview where he's like, oh, I don't usually go in regular horror circles anymore because I bumped into David Cronenberg at a convention, and that guy was just an asshole, and I'm like, whoa. he was talking to him, and he goes, that guy's a pretentious asshole. It's like, yeah, you know you're good. You know you're John Carpenter when you've the balls to call David Cronenberg a pretentious arsehole. Like,
that's the thing about John Carpenter is he's like real. Like he's the regular dude. He just happens to make fucking awesome movies. Like, I don't know how, but he does.
I'd say that's another reason, Dan, that he isn't too in a rush to come back and do kind of mainstream horror, because he got screwed over by the studios.
Oh yeah, because I know the Thing was an experience that kind of embittered him. Like, he made some of his greatest fucking movies in the 80s after The Thing, which is, of course, right there in that upper category. But I don't know. That experience, I think, kind of made him a bit bitter and not as longing to make great films, even though fucking up until... I'd go as far as to say maybe Village of the Damned could have been his last real great one. And of course, In the Mouth of Madness was fucking amazeballs, but
that is my favorite Carpenter movie.
Yeah.
But like Village of the Damned wasn't even that bad. Like, I'm pretty sure he's open about, it was one of those projects that it was just a fucking director for hire kind of deal, if I remember correctly, for Village.
It was still cool because you'd fucking Mark Hamill as a reverend going to snipe children with a fucking rifle.
You had Luke
Superman blowing up
Skywalker
a barn full of children.
You had Luke Skywalker and Superman in the same fucking movie. Like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure half of those kids, like, when they realized just what they were working on there, like, their little heads went absolutely ape shit. Like, yeah, that's not a whole lot of movies can say that. Yeah, we had Superman and Luke Skywalker on set. It was a movie. And Kirstie Alley before she became irrelevant.
I would like to see him do. If he did one more movie, I want him to do a movie with Kurt Russell before he passes, because them two are like cake and ice cream.
I think because I know Carpenter has always wanted to make a Western. Go out on a Western with Kurt Russell. I think that would be like the perfect fucking touch right there. Like,
the thing is, it's Carpenter though. It would either have to be a sci-fi or a horror Western. It couldn't be a conventional. Or do you think he could do the conventional?
Like, I think he would kind of go in he could go in the style of a spaghetti Western. Like, because I know a lot of, I think Precinct 13 in a lot of ways was like an urban version of a spaghetti Western.
Yeah, Dan, that's essentially a remake of
Rio Bravo.
Howard Hawks' Rio Bravo.
And I only ever watched Rio Bravo because it's like, hey, Assault on Precinct 13 basically was this movie. I'm like, oh, well, let me check that out then. And you can see it. You can fucking see it when you watch Rio Bravo.
Yeah.
I got the solution, guys. Like, we just give him the Firefly franchise and just have him make another movie. Just John Carpenter's Firefly. It could work. Then you get your science fiction and you got your Western right in one.
I think I would like to see John Carpenter, if he wants to do a Western, do a adaptation of a book called The Tribe.
Oh.
It's basically a horror Western. It's basically written as a horror Western because the big foes are human beings who, due to a rare form of rabies and being held in a frostbitten mountain with a bit of eternal youth fountain, have become rabid, raging monsters that hunt at night and kill everything in sight and just go across the land, eating everything until they are shot dead by the local sheriff.
We kind of got that, I think, in One Tomahawk, which is a fucking amazing movie. If no one's seen One Tomahawk,
that is your horror Western for the 2000s. One Tomahawk was fucking great.
I mean, I don't necessarily think he has to go science fiction or horror with it, though. He could probably pull off a straight Western. Whether or not it would draw nowadays with, like, how people view Westerns, I don't know. But, like, he could probably do it.
Yeah,
I know it's going to sound weird, but I'd like to see him handle Hex.
Oh. Do
Jonah Hex. Yeah, see if he can do, because I think he'd be able to do Jonah Hex a bit of justice, because that is tailored for him, because there's a bit of body horror, a bit of normal horror, stabbing, backstabbing, convoluting.
Yeah, I could say that would work.
You hear that, John Carpenter?
Oh, sorry.
Carpenter, we know you're not watching, but somebody's gonna feed it to you. Cody Carpenter, if you're fucking watching this, show your dad.
Yeah.
Fucking
You can make him do a remake of Jonah Hex, but to his style. Oh my god, that would be so good.
There are people who want to see him make that Western he always wanted to make.
And we all want to see a Jonah Hex movie that does Jonah Hex justice, so you'll be pleasing two groups at the same time.
I think the closest he got. Oh, sorry, Ethel.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'll go right after. Go ahead.
I think the closest he got was Vampires with James Woods. That's probably the closest to a Western he got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one I still got to watch.
Oh,
That's a great movie.
It's Midland. It's certainly better than Ghost of Mars.
Oh God, Ghost of Mars.
Ghost of Mars is a fucking travesty.
Yeah, well, wasn't that supposed to be essentially like Escape 3?
Yeah, but for some reason, whenever someone mentions it, I always feel a little bit sad inside. It's like, oh, that movie.
Just thinking of what it could have been.
Yeah, it's like, dudes, you ruined it.
Natalie's got a... Oh, sorry.
Natalie has a question. She's like, does anybody like the movie The Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe? I liked it. I liked it for what it was. I didn't think it was overly scary. It was a nice little supernatural tale.
Ethel?
I have not seen that one, so I got to pass. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I'm stuck in my older ways, and I am slowly coming around to modern horror. So there's that.
I saw the sequel, and it's fucking terrible. I haven't seen the
Don't watch the sequel. Watch the original. The original has some good premises, some good ideas, and some good execution. The only thing that I will say is they definitely lightened up the ending for the movie, because in the book, completely different.
I would suggest it. Look, given what I watched the sequel, if I could go back in time again and choose between putting my bollocks in a blender and watching the sequel to The Woman in Black, my fucking testes are going straight into that fucking blender, because it wouldn't have been as painful. It wouldn't have been as fucking painful, man.
Yeah, there's no point in the second one, but the first one, I would recommend, even if it's just watching it for the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Getting your fucking gonad shredded by a smoothie maker would be fucking more enjoyable.
Like I said, I appreciated The Woman in Black for what it was. I didn't think it was overly great. I didn't think it was underly great. I think it was just a nice little supernatural tale.
Yeah, I think out of 10, probably give it a 6.
Yeah, just for originality alone, I would give it a 6.
You're in a ghost story, Harry.
I ain't a wizard. I'm a boy.
I think that was my one.
20s.
I think that was my one complaint was it felt like you put Harry Potter in a horror movie. Radcliffe, to me, it felt like he didn't want to be in the movie. To me, it was just he was just there to be there.
Natalie, the sequel was scary for all the wrong reasons. The sequel was scary in that someone gave someone money to make that movie.
Okay, the scariest thing about that movie is the runtime.
The scariest thing about that movie is I would prefer to put my head through a fucking glass panel fucking wall.
But then again, for us, we are kind of getting to that stage of we're hard to scare nowadays.
Yeah.
But if I was going back to the Carpenter and westerns, I would like to see him do a remake of Red Sun.
Ooh,
that could work.
I always loved that movie. Just the premise of the samurai and the gunfighter.
Yeah, that's the one with Charles Bronson, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Can you imagine if he did a live-action version of Samurai Jack?
Oh my God!
David Fincher was supposed to be doing that, dude.
Oh, BRB, my doggy needs to go outside and cause a murder scene.
Oh shit! Kara disappeared.
She disappeared about 10 minutes ago.
Fuck your dog owner.
She had to take her dog for a walk as well.
Damn it! Where's my pen?
Fucking
It's
gone.
fun- It's funny though, right when Deacon has to take his dog, it's like the way you just noticed that, like, where the fuck did Kara go? Like, ironically,
I got distracted. I didn't know that.
that's how it gets sometimes. You get so into the conversation, you don't even notice heads disappearing. Like, wait, there were more of us before, weren't there?
It's
I'm
not
like,
one
where
by one.
is it now? Where is Mr. Rick? Gone. Gone. Gotta do that. Gotta do that. Compulsory.
Quick question for you guys, and I suppose it depends on if you were cinema go. Do you see yourself returning to cinemas anytime soon, or did you ever really go that to begin with?
I was never that big on, you know, going to the cinema. For me, going to the movies, it had to be a really, really big movie for me to go, you know, for me to justify paying the admission price for a movie. I would have liked to have seen Kong versus Godzilla, you know, because I think that is going to be the biggest movie of the summer in theaters. But for me, it's gotta be something that I'm gonna, you know, really enjoy. And I think the only thing that I can foresee me, you know, as just myself wanting to go see in a theater and experience is Candyman.
Okay. Cool.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, theaters for me.
Oh
no, go on, Dan. Go on.
Kind of like Mark said, it really just depends on the film. If it's a film that piques my interest and I feel it's a must watch, then yeah, I can see myself going to the theater for that. And that's really the way I've always been. Like, I'm not that guy who's like, hey, this movie I know nothing about is in theaters. Let's go watch it. Like,
yeah, I've never been that guy either.
Like, it's got to be a personal event type of film.
Yeah. Ethel, what about yourself? Were you a big cinema goer before the Rona hit?
Well, I would go for movies that I really wanted to see. Like, it's got to be a movie I want to see. But currently, I have a gift card to Cinemagic, so I'm just waiting for the world to get its head out of its ass, so I can use that gift card, because, like, I can go see 3 movies right now.
Any kind of particular flick that you're like saving that for?
Nope. Whatever it strikes me as something I really want to see, I'm gonna go down there and see it. I can't wait. I miss the smell of the popcorn. I miss the gross sticky floors, the uncomfortable hand rests. I miss it all.
I don't miss sticky floors.
Things we never thought we would be reflecting on. Like, I miss that knowing that you're walking through the theater because you could just feel it under your feet.
Yeah, and in my cinema, I miss the weird innocuous stain on the ceiling. That could be jism. We don't know. Myself and my friends laugh about it. It's just this big white globule stain on the fucking ceiling. Like, someone really liked Lord of the Rings, didn't they?
There's something about the atmosphere of a cinema that's just really endearing to me. You know, you've got the colorful carpets, you've got all the movie posters on the wall, coming attractions, coming soon. You know, they're surrounded by lights sometimes, depending on what cinema you go to. You've got the really loud system.
Yeah, when you go with friends, and like even if it's a shit movie, just you fucking harping on and taking the piss out of the film, or just joking about it before it starts, or joking about like shit that you went to see the prior week or whatever. Yeah, I miss that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like you look at the concession stand and you laugh because you know that you brought your own concessions in your purse. It's like, yeah, I got my
and
own.
Like, what's in the bag? And you're like, oh, my medication. I have hemorrhoids. Do you want to have a look in the bag? No, that's okay. Go right ahead.
Fucking chimichangas in your pocket.
I got my snow caps in the purse, in the water. You know, I'm all set. I'm good to go. Good to go.
Fucking
Why?
even if you're like me,
Why do you smell like
fucking-
McDonald's? Oh, that's my BO.
You wear the hat, man. If you're a hat person, fuck, you got shit in the hat too. Kinda, like you got that ridiculous stoner look where the hat's all high off your head, but it's the way kids are wearing it. They don't question it. Fucking half the munchies in there, like, all right.
Yeah, it's like you got a king size Butterfinger in there. You know, you got a box of Raisinets. Friggin'. Oh man, it's good. It's good. I'm a sucker. I hit up the dollar store before the movies. I grab all the theater box candy for like 89 cents. I hit it up.
You just load up in that shit.
It's like, why would I pay? Why am I going to pay them like $3.95 for something that's going to cost me 89 cents?
Come here. I usually find I'll attack it, but I'll also defend it, because if you look if you look at how cinemas are run, they get a tiny percentage of that cinema ticket, so they gotta make up the rest in concessions.
Yeah.
But fucking cost to go to the cinema is dear as well. Like, it's fucking, for a matinee ticket now, it's €7.50 for like a midday ticket. Like, how much is it for a matinee in your area, guys?
Last time I went for a midday, it was over $10.
Because me and my friends take turns in paying for each other. So I can only give you the total amount for 3 people, but that is £23.50.
Dear God.
So the equivalent of about $30.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Like, you're paying for the big screen, you're paying for the audio quality of the surround sound. You know, that's where the theater is supposed to make their buck. I think the real villains in all this is greedy Hollywood. You know, you just got to pay Kevin Bacon that kind of money to be in the movies, you know? So we got to pass that charge down to the theater.
Ethel, I think it's a long time since Kevin Bacon has been in a theatrically released fucking movie. The last fucking big thing he was in fucking Hollow Man. Hollow Man or fucking Death Wish.
You're missing the point, Trashy. You're missing
Killing.
the point.
All right. Let me rephrase this. You got to pay Jared Leto like the big ass bucks to play.
Ethel, he needs that money for his sex cult. He needs that money for his sex cult. Okay. In fairness, let us gotta pay for pussy. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, and when it comes to
involuntarily, now the face like that.
And when it comes to Dwayne the Rock Johnson, they've got to pay for all the cows and chickens that he's eating.
It's like, let's pay those goobers less money to do their thing. If they don't want to take the role, hire somebody cheaper. I don't need a big name. I will go and see a movie if it looks good. I don't care who the fuck is in it. Like, just freaking make it good. You know? Power is BS, man. It's BS. Some of my favorite movies have nobody in them.
Look, come here. If it was Scarlett Johansson and Margot Robbie in like some hardcore fucking shit, I'd pay top dollar. I'd be like, you know, they play 2 nuns in the 12th century who get locked in a dungeon and have to kind of keep each other warm. I'd fucking pay top dollar for that. But like, you know,
I get the feeling that would be on a VOD service.
I would not mind going to the seedy side of town at those neon cinemas that you see in 80s New York movies.
You'd have to go to a Fat Shack that shows movies.
Oh yeah, those places.
No, but here's the thing: you get a European director, you get someone with a French name, and you tack it as an art house movie. It's an art house movie.
How many?
Just like the time Scarlet was that alien who stripped off Tub Death Men and dipped them in black goo, because that was an art house movie.
I was so disappointed. I'm thinking, oh, finally, full frontal male, and it's like some mentally challenged guy. She's friggin' scheming on. I'm like, what the hell, man? What the hell?
Just get the asshole who made this, and fucking it'll work.
But I guess you go to see that at one of the cinemas where you don't question what that odd stain is on the ceiling. You know what it is.
It wouldn't be on the ceiling. It'd be on the back of the seat in front of you.
You don't need to buy.
Just don't ask why the floor is sticky.
Poor
Or
Dan.
why your seat is wet.
Conditioner in my hair. The fuck?
It's like, did I forget to rinse? My hair's dry as shit.
Guys, all I'm saying is you don't need to go to Dateline and borrow Katie Couric's fucking blacklight to find out what that stain is. You know.
Oh, we know. We also know that if you're going to be sitting in those kind of cinemas and you start hearing a jingling sound, it's because someone's pulling on their bell toll.
Yes. All right, and I think after so many customers give their reviews, as it were, there's I'm sure a smell that's kind of in the
just
air.
Just beware of the people that have the 5-star reviews.
There's a moment where you turn around and go, "Is this a premiere? Why is Paul Rubens here?" Oh.
And if you sit around long enough outside of the theatre, you will see Howard the Duck walk in with a mop, going, again.
It's like, why me?
Right. Folks watching, ladies, like, don't listen to him when he says that lots of couples come here. Not lots of couples come here. That's not what goes on at this theater.
Couples come here.
No. The correct terminology is someone comes a couple of times.
Yeah.
While they're here.
Yeah. Look.
Oh man.
Ladies, if your boyfriend is taking you to this place, unless he's fucking Robert De Niro's the taxi driver, fuck it. Actually, even if he is Robert De Niro's the taxi driver, just leave.
Man, I feel like everything would have been A-okay if she'd have just stuck around. It was her leaving, I think, that really just kind of... It was that last little push he needed to be like, okay, I'm officially a fucking crazy person. If she'd have muscled that weird-ass theater experience out, it would have been a whole different movie, I tell you what.
I like that narration monologue. He's like, where it's like, she can not be touched. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, crazy world. They're in crazy world. He's a stalker. He's gonna and then he dies.
It sounds like he wants to stick her in a jar and keep her on a shelf.
I worry that movie's a window into Scorsese's mind, because he plays like someone, the taxi driver picks someone and goes, "Yeah, I got a 45 Magnum. I'm gonna shoot my girlfriend in the pussy." It's like,
you ever see what a 44 Magnum does to a woman's pussy? It's amazing.
Yeah, it's like,
absolutely blows it out.
Jesus Christ, Scorsese, chill.
But, you know what's fucked is he probably doesn't even remember doing that part. Like he knows that it's like easily one of his best remembered films, but I don't think he remembers making it, because he was out of his fucking gourd on everything that he could get his hands on at that time.
He was on all the drugs.
Him and fucking Coppola. Christ. Dan, have you watched Heart of Darkness? The making of fucking Apocalypse Now.
I still have yet to see that. I need to wait till I watch. I want to watch Apocalypse Now before I watch the making of, because I feel like if I watch the making of, then that'll kind of ruined the effect of the film.
Lawrence
Ow.
Fishburne lied about his age. He was 15.
You know how Dan made a joke about ladies and guns and a 44 cal earlier? Oh, God.
Dude. No, Deke.
David
roll
Bradley.
Yeah. Back room. That's backroom chat.
Oh, no. I was about to say nothing displeasant. I wasn't going to go into displeasant stuff. I was going to sit there and go, for some strange reason, that there is actually an entire chart on Pornhub dedicated to women using gun-shaped dildos.
They must have been fans of that scene.
Yeah, weird.
They must have been fans of the Scorsese monologue there.
I won't go into the other one because there is news articles and something else.
No.
Dan, this is what I said earlier about the darkest possible conclusion.
Well, we made it to 2.5 hours, just over 2.5 hours. So this is a record.
I've been to a couple of these here, so I have an idea how it can get hanging with this group of fine people. It gets entertaining.
Yeah, but I think that would be my only trek down the dark side for Ethel's health.
Not just Ethel. Poor. Look at the last couple of Natalie, we won't be discussing that. Do not worry. And just because Deacon isn't actually interested in that, it's just he's a collector of morbid facts.
Yeah. I'm one of those people that wants to know the stupidity that people will go to with dangerous stuff, even though they know it's dangerous and they shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But do not worry, I am not going to divulge any of those stories here because I'm trying to be nice and I'm trying not to be too evil. If it was my channel, no hope. But this is Mark's channel.
No, notice that's why Deacon has a very small amount of content on his channel.
I have to unlist my videos every once in a while, otherwise it's like, okay, yeah.
Watch this.
We've all been there, man. We have all been at that point. This does not belong in the public world of YouTube. But it's there. If anyone asks, I could lend it to them, but
yeah, if it's there, I can tell you where you want to find it, but I am not going to go into it in front of these people because that's a subject that will make some of them very uncomfortable.
Make everyone uncomfortable.
I think the only person who didn't make uncomfortable was me.
Something I was elaborating on there yesterday, and I was talking to Mark and Trenchy and Ethel about in this very kind of PC world, is horror in danger of being cancelled? Certain types of horror, like you have, which is rightly so. There should be a push to stop violence against women, but is there a thing where you might get the Anita Sarkeesians of the world going, oh, fucking slashers are promoting fucking violence against women. Slashers are a metaphor for rape. Dan, what do you think? Do you think there's a danger that shit fucking manifesting itself?
I think anyone who believes that in that idea, they need to watch horror documentaries, namely about like slasher films, where people actually talk about how it's not about the woman getting attacked, it's about the woman actually overcoming the attacker. So it's something they should be praising and not trying to cancel.
Yeah, empowerment. 9 times out of 10, these movies are about female empowerment.
Slumber Party Massacre is a perfect example because the drill is a very phallic object. The dude wants to drill these broads, and fucking when they fucking chop that drill bit off, he has been belittled. The killer is at his weakest point, and the ladies overcome, and they win. Spoilers
Yeah.
for anyone who hasn't seen Slumber Party Massacre, but
Yeah,
for people who haven't seen a movie that's 40 years old.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they basically use a tool to metaphorically emasculate him.
like
They use a tool to kill a tool.
he goes around
Yeah.
penetrating them, and they ultimately penetrate him at the end of the day, and it's like, so
It happens.
yeah, I think whatever the point was, yes.
Yeah, if you're going to give it, you got to be ready to take it.
Exactly.
But I think the question though was about cancel culture trying to come after horror. I hope it doesn't come to that, but like I said, if they really looked at analysis of horror films, I think they would take a couple steps back in their rush to judgment and action.
The thing is, though, with cancel culture, one thing that annoys me, context is never taken in to a lot of these situations.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's-
because my
that's sad.
yeah, because
Because-
my argument. Oh, after you. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, Deacon.
Oh no, after you, dude. It's your show.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, it's really sad that, like Marty was saying, that the context of these movies is never taken into consideration. Case in point, everybody made a great big, stink about the very first Friday the 13th, in which you had a female as the killer, and as like, but did you guys actually stop and listen to the story of that movie? Because Friday the 13th, the original, is a very simplistic, a story that you could believe in, and that a mother's grievance has driven her slowly insane to the point where she does, and the fact that they constantly try to reopen the camp that killed her son.
Mm-hmm.
You can easily see where that the amount of
Yeah, Pamela's definitely a villain, but it's not without fucking. It's she's not. I'm not saying she's justified, but you can certainly empathize with why she goes on this kind of rampage. Is that kind of what you're saying, Mark?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's trying to fucking portray like a warped mother's love or a warped kind of sadness for this character.
Yeah, but if they're going to try and cancel slashers because of their impact on relationships, women, law, society, then I would petition that they do exactly the same for romantic comedies, because most of the time it's a guy who is stalking a woman, essentially, or it's a woman stalking a man. That's promoting obsessive behavior that can lead to murder.
Right.
Oh, sorry, Ethel.
I was just gonna say, I think it's just they need to stop. Like, you need to just leave art alone. Movies are movies. Video games are video games. TV shows are TV shows. It's all fiction. It doesn't make
if you have an issue with it, sweet. You've got your fucking TV remote there. You've got your fucking Xbox. If you have an issue, turn the bastard thing off. Don't try don't try and spoil it for other people.
we got all. Oh, sorry, Deacon.
No, after you.
I said we got all these parental guidelines. You got PG, TV PG, TV, TVM, TVG, TVEI, TV everything, right? And you got that V-chip thing in your TV, and you've got warnings and ratings on all your movies and all your games and all, even your comic books. And it's like we have all these systems to prevent you from seeing content that might upset you. And ultimately, the answer is let's just cancel all the content. Like, can't, like, what the fuck? Like, why?
Yeah. Whereas I agree with Ethel on this matter, and I think what they should do is make whatever content they want to make, as long as it's within the boundaries of legality. I do not want to promote anything naughty, people. But feel free to create. Movie studios create what they want to do. TV shows, make what you want, because there's going to be a fan base once people find it. You're going to have people that will watch it. Yeah, it might not be in the millions. It might not even be in the hundreds of thousands. But you still get viewers. You still reach people, and they'll be watching your story. It just means we have to promote everything. Sit there and promote the slasher grotesque horror as much as you would the slasher based on a SJW's getting revenge on men who believe in racism. I don't know. I got lost there.
Oh, shit.
Well, here's my thing. When I was growing up, if my grandma did not want me to see it, you know what she did? Took the remote and changed the television.
It's
simple. When my nieces and nephews are over and they're watching TV, if they come, if they see something that they think that they shouldn't see, they're enlightened enough to tell me, "Hey, Uncle Mark, we don't want to see that. Can you change it?"
Yeah, or if they're like my nieces and nephews, they'll turn around and say, "Is it okay if we're allowed to watch this?" And I'll have a look and say yes or no.
They don't look at you and say, "This is going to make us want to kill each other. Can you write some angry letters to make them stop making this?" They're not going to do that.
Yeah, they just let you know if it's scary, good, bad.
And I feel like expressing it that way just shows how fucking stupid cancel culture is. Because essentially that's... I can't fathom it.
I do. It annoys me when, like, fucking the likes of parent groups or the NRA are like, "Oh, it's video games. It's video games. It's movies." It's like, no, it's shitty parenting. Shitty parenting is the source for a fucking kid going into a fucking school. Fucking, like, myself, I know, Ethel, you and me might have some differences about, like, ideals on guns and stuff. That's a whole other fucking kettle of fish. But I do think it's down to parenting. It's the, like, a fucking parent should know what their kid is up to, what they're watching, what they're doing. And again, it's so easy to scapegoat video games and movies and even fucking pornography. It's like, fucking, oh yeah, this person collected Playboy. They're obviously going to turn out like Jeffrey Dahmer. Fuck no. Fuck no. No, but it's true. It's true.
Even though a vintage Playboy can sell at auction for thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. That's the point I'm getting at, Deacon, is that it's just so easy for people who don't want to accept that maybe us as a society aren't great at fucking communicating or looking after or talking one-to-one with our fucking kids. Like, it's the video game. It's violent comic books. It's fucking
external justification.
Yeah.
There's too many cases where, in law, even nowadays, where you've got people who have pleaded, it's because of this movie, it's because of this game. And it doesn't help the matters when you've got righteous groups that are just looking for any scrap of information, data, or pleases to denounce that subject.
These two young fuckers went sniping people on a country road, and they got off because their lawyer claimed, they were playing GTA, and fucking Rockstar nearly got fucking landed. No, it's because the kids were cunts and decided to sit at the side of a road, fucking taking pot shots at fucking cars.
Yeah, and it's like the two kids who who committed a murder and blamed it all on the Scream franchise.
Or fucking those. Oh, sorry, Ethel, go on.
I was just gonna say, you know what it is? It's like the old saying, said in jest. Oh, the devil made me do it. No, it's you were fucking like. Here's the deal. You have the kids. You have the fun night of fun. You have the kids. You do the whole parenting thing. You actually have to do the parenting part. Like you have to talk to your children and hang out with them and like be a family. You don't just fuck off and like leave them to be raised by whoever and whatever they encounter.
Deacon, do you remember the case with Jamie Bulger where they tried blaming that the kids had watched fucking Child's Play and that landed them in fucking trouble? It was like,
oh yeah, and it was kind of like, no.
Fucking kids. Sorry, dude.
Oh, yeah, where they blamed it on Child's Play and the movie got dragged through the mud. It even got banned in England for about 6 months after that case.
Like,
you can rent it, you can buy it, you can sell it.
There was nothing even conducive in that movie to what those fucking two young lads did to that fucking kid. There's nothing that was even like.
Oh, trust me. I took an interest in that case because growing up, that really hit home. And believe me, the stuff that is out there for public consumption that is generally available on YouTube and on most documentary websites do not cover half of what they did. They really don't.
Yeah, and none of that shit happened in that movie. Again, scapegoat.
Very big scapegoat because, yeah, you can't draw any parallels between what they did with the movie. The only connection is it involved a child, and that's it.
It's almost like we live in a world where they're erasing personal responsibility and people, being responsible for their actions. It's like people do things not because a movie puts the idea in their head or because they heard a naughty rock song and it made them want to go kill people. No, they do things because they're friggin' messed up. They don't have the kind of access that they need to the mental health, facilities, treatments. They either been neglected by family, whatnot. It's like, it's people's personal responsibility. It's not media that does these things.
Like, one thing I noticed, I've been on this platform, fucking 5-6 years now. I've chatted to lots of people in the horror community. And like most of you guys, nearly all of you guys are fucking awesome. I like most of you wouldn't say boo to a fucking ghost. It's some fucker who's like captain of the fucking lacrosse team who's, let's say his dad buys him a fucking Merc, who's fucking spiking some young one's fucking drink at a fucking sorority house and shoved his dick down her throat when she's passed out. That has never watched a horror movie. That makes fun of people that watch horror movies. That's the fucking psycho. That's the fucking dickbag you need to watch out for, not someone who's watching a fucking horror movie.
Yeah, because the only thing media does, and this is where it's going to get a bit grey, so please stick with me. The only thing that media does is for people who are already dispositioned for violence or have mental disorders, it exposes them to what those things could be. And that's not media's fault. That's you not monitoring your child about what they're watching and their reaction to what they're watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always...
Oh, sorry, Ethel.
I was just saying, there's always warning signs. Like, if you notice, like, in any kind of tragedy or whatever, there were always warning signs that people ignored. And it's like, it's so convenient to blame it on music or movies or video games or freaking comic books or who the fuck knows what. It's always convenient to blame it on something else. But it's like, the warning signs are there. You can see that somebody's teetering on the edge. Like, why don't you fucking... talk to them, maybe be there for them, help them through that, keep them from friggin' going that step too far. Instead it's just like, oh yeah, they were always so troubled, I was concerned. Oh, I never
There's a-
saw it.
Mhm. There's a whole psychological term for it, but I A, cannot pronounce it, and B, I'm not even going to attempt to. But it is called external justification. It's where a parent or people who are related to the person who's committed this crime can't believe their child is capable of this, so they look for an external justification for their child's behaviour. Whether it be media, games, drugs, they have to come up with something so it's not their fault for raising their child that way.
Yeah,
It's sad.
But it's more common than we would like to admit. It pretty much governs most movements, and it's a pity that people can't see facts and separate them from fallacies.
You know, it's like the mother or the family of the drunk driver who goes out there and creams a car and kills 3 people, you know, because they were driving slosh. And it's like, oh, it's alcohol's fault. The alcohol, no, like you didn't explain to them, and you weren't there. You know, there were people supporting them, and you let that get out of hand, and you didn't understand like the ramifications of their actions. It's not the alcohol's fault. It's the person not controlling himself.
Mark, I'm going to bounce because it's now coming up on 3:10. But
Ooh.
thanks again for having us, dude.
Yeah, I was fixing to say I'm fixing to call the stream anyway because it's I'm sitting over here starving to death.
And it's also approaching 3 hours, and that's usually your normal mark to call it.
Yes. I usually call it in about 3 hours.
Yeah. I think this version of StreamYard only does allow 3 anyway, so.
Oh, it lasts up to 12 hours in one stretch.
Oh, hell yeah.
Fucking
I know-
Trenchy even done it. I don't know if you noticed, Dan, but Trenchy did a 24-hour stream once.
An accidental 24-hour stream.
Oh my god.
Fucking Trent is on for hours.
But unfortunately, where he didn't break up his transmission using StreamYards, after the 12-hour mark, it doesn't save it on YouTube. So he lost the entire 24 hours.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so you've got to watch it. As soon as it hits 11 hours and 59 minutes, stop, redo another broadcast.
Does someone want walkies, Mark?
Oh, the doggy. Oh, hello, poochies.
The wolfin.
The wolf is here. Woof, woof. No.
The wolf come for you.
Annoying bat.
Guys, I'm gonna dust off, so I will see you later. Mark, thanks for having us on. Ethel, I'll see you tomorrow. Dan, you sexy fucker, it's always a pleasure to fucking be chatting with you. And Deke,
absolutely.
I will probably see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, more than likely.
See you guys
Night,
later.
night, dude.
Later,
Bye.
Adios.
Good night, everybody.
All right, everyone. Thank you for having us over, Mark. It's a lot of fun, man.
It was a lot of fun having you, Dan.
Absolutely. I appreciate the extension of the invitation to the celebration.
Yeah, and it's nice to meet someone who's nearly as depraved as I am.
Absolutely.